Praise, esteem, and oh my goodness. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach. Henry, sit upon your bum. Upon your bum, Henry. Thank you, sir. What's up? What you trying to do? What you trying to do, Uncle Paulie? Just go ahead and walk and get it over with. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. Yeah, man. Leviticus 23 for the two people in the room who don't actually know what we're doing. Completely and fully.
I can't hear you.
Get the wax out your ear. What I'm gonna do with that sign? I don't want to sing. Can you sing?
Little Mike can help you out.
No. You can't sing? No. You got a mean fro going on that side. That's Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 26. Side. Put that football down. Put it down. Drop the microphone. And drop your butt in that chair.
Sit down.
No need for sadness.
Go sit down.
Why is your countenance falling? You go in there with your mama with that and that face paint.
Hush!
Oh, that afro, she look like somebody grandma at a funeral. Like fake old tears. You know you couldn't stand that nigga when he was alive. You better catch that insurance check though. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a Kadesh convocation unto you. You shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. And you shall do no work in that same day, for it is the day of atonement, to make atonement for you before Yahuwah your Elohim. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that do any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. You shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Shabbat of rest, and you shall afflict your souls on the 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even shall you celebrate your Shabbat. How many of y'all been seeing people talk about you ain't got to fast on this particular day? Have you seen that before? You heard that before? I didn't see it for the last 2-3 years. Take this out. Come here. Elizabeth, Renee, Ariel, let's go. Y'all walked your way in here. Now you're going to come in here. You're going to sit down and you're not going to move again. Get over there and sit down. Okay, sit right here, mother. Thank you. Well, let's look at this. Zechariah chapter 7, verse 3. Yes, my friend. You want to go get your chair? Oh, you just hit your jaw. How about you just sit in that chair over there? Does your jaw hurt? Are you okay?
No, you sit your butt right where you at. Close your mouth.
Yeah, y'all wanted to sit in here earlier, so now you're gonna sit here and be still and be quiet. Zechariah 7:3. We'll make it 7 and 4. Well, 7 and 3 is good. Matter of fact, 7 and 1. Hey, come on, Henry. You too big to be getting tossed around like that. You don't have to assert your dominance, Henry. Henry, you don't have to assert your dominance.
I'm sure you're going to be tossed around.
Come on, Henry.
I'll not be disrespectful.
That's exactly how he moved. He had to assert his dominance. Zechariah 7:1. And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Darius that the word of Yahuwah came unto Zechariah in the 4th day of the 9th month, even in Chislu. And when they had summoned the house of Elohim, Sherezer, and Regmalach, and their men to pray before Yahuwah, and to speak unto the priests which were in the house of Yahuwah, and to the prophets, saying, should I weep in the 5th month, separating myself, as I have done these so many years? Then came the word of Yahuwah of hosts unto me, saying, speak unto all the people of the land, and to the priests, saying, when you fasted and mourned in the 5th and 7th month, even though 70 years, Did you at all fast unto me, even to me? Does anybody know what he referring to when he referring to these 70 years? I just want to make sure everybody know what he's talking about. Yeah, don't everybody answer at one time.
Oh, captivity Babylon?
He just mentioned that, did you fast unto me for these 70 years? What are these 70 years about? Well, let's look at Jeremiah 28:14. Yeah, it was, but nobody else said anything.
Thank you, Mommy.
Hey, no hearing. No, Henry, you can't take it from her. She had it first.
Come on, Mar, let's go lay down anyway.
Henry say, how you gonna put me to bed? All these children in here.
You ain't never lived here.
He said, you ain't right, Pop. You ain't right. 28:9, I suppose. Actually, make it Isaiah 29. That'd be better. Jeremiah chapter 29 and about verse 7. Jeremiah 29 and 7. 29 and 7. Sorry, put your dress down. And seek the shalom of the city where I've caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto Yahuwah for it, for in shalom thereof shall you have shalom. This is another instance of where when you read what he tell you to pray for the powers that be and to do certain stuff so them people leave you alone, what Peter and Paul reference, this is what this come from the mouth of Yahweh, where they get this stuff from. You ever read that part where they say pray for those people, pray for the kings and all that other stuff? That's why he tell you to pray for the peace of the city, not because you care about America or you care about London or you care about that. You praying for it so that he will cause these people to leave you alone. You know what I'm saying? When you read 1 Kings chapter 8, he tell you that if you turn, he'll cause the people who took you captive to have what? Compassion on you. You wonder why these people don't have compassion on us? Because we haven't turned. They're not going to have compassion. Not because a few people turn. See, what people don't realize is those of you that have turned, them people don't really fool with you like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't really mess with you. They don't really bother you. You notice from time to time that these heathens tend to do a little extra stuff for you every now and then. You know what I'm talking about?
So they go in where turn from their wicked ways, I heal their land?
No, not their land. Because when he say heal their land, he talking about our land.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Bring me that side. But what I'm talking about, go ahead and get 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 44. I'll show you what I'm talking about. 1 Kings 8 and 44. Hey, put it back. Put it back. Put it back. This ain't playtime. I don't want to hear that. 1 Kings 8 and 44. Make it 46.
Let's go.
Elizabeth, go with your mommy.
Isaiah, let's go.
No, your mommy's coming to retrieve you as well. Yeah, you didn't hear she said, I'm not going. My mommy's not coming. And then you arrived and foiled her whole plan. 1 Kings 8 and 46. If they sin against thee, for there is no man that sin not, and thou be angry with them, and deliver them to the enemy, so that they carry them away captives unto the land of the enemy, far or near. Yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land whither they were carried captives, and repent, and make supplication unto the land of them that carried them captives, saying, we have sinned and have done perversely, we have committed wickedness, and so return unto thee with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their enemies, which led them away captive, and pray unto thee toward their land, which thou gave unto their fathers, the city which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name, then hear thou their prayer and their supplication, and shall Mahim thy dwelling place, and maintain their cause, and forgive thy people that have sinned against thee, and all their transgressions where they have transgressed against thee, and give them compassion before them who carried them captive, that they may have compassion on them. So he told you in the book of Proverbs that if your ways please Yahuwah, that he'll cause your enemies to be at peace with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you get the reference to that from. Matter of fact, since I read, come back to Jeremiah 29, and I'll show you where that's coming from. Come back to Jeremiah chapter 29. I'll read 29 and 7 again. It says, seek the shalom of the city, whither I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto Yahuwah for it, for in the shalom thereof ye shall have shalom. So let's bring over here to 1 Peter chapter 2, I want to say. You trying to take over the whole neighborhood, ain't you, Uncle Paulie? He ain't care nothing about everybody left him. He ain't got no bedtime. You're a baby. 1 Peter chapter 2. What's the verse that Oh no, 1 Timothy chapter 2. My bad. That's what we want, actually. 1 Timothy chapter 2. 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 1. 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 1. He said, I exhort thee that, first of all, supplications, prayers, intercessions of giving and thanks be made for all men, for kings, and for all that are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. You know what I'm saying? See, that's the reference what we were discussing last week. And what we were talking about Romans 13 and what Peter stated is that these are, when Peter and Paul are making these statements, these are actually Yahuwah's instructions on how to conduct yourself while you're in captivity, because he the one placed you here. So therefore these people can't really, there's another place in look at Deuteronomy chapter 32. I'll show you what I mean. You just look at it in Deuteronomy 32. We're going to get back to the main crux. We got all night. Yes, man. You want to walk? You trying to walk? You look like you making a poop. Yeah, that look like a poop face. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Pick it up about verse 25, I should say. Yeah, 25, cool. Deuteronomy 32 and 25. Deuteronomy 32 and 25. The sword without and the terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. I said I would scatter them in the corners, and I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is not high, and you who have not done all this. For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Oh, that they were wise, and that they understood this, and that they would consider their latter end. How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except the rock had sold them, and Yahuwah had shut them up? You know what I'm saying? So he let you know these people can't do. He don't want to cause them to do this. And you notice he say he had to move in a certain way just in case them people felt like y'all ain't did this and we can get off. See, truth be told, how these people moving this. You know, I heard the most very disturbing thing this morning, man. I heard the Carolina Panther player said they were scared of their owner to protest. And as soon as I heard them say that, I don't even care about the protest. When I heard them say we're scared of the owner, automatically, you scared of your slave master. That's how it sounded. And they went and talked to the man to say, oh yeah, you could do it. How you scared of your own? How you scared of this cracker? Tell that cracker to blow it out your butthole. You know what I'm saying? As a man, I'm talking about, how can you go look your son in the face and tell him you were scared of another man? You know what I'm saying? That's my whole point. I don't even care nothing about the kid. Like, how could you go home and look your wife in the face and tell a baby I was scared of another man? You know what I'm saying? How you scared of another man? That doesn't even make, that's not even logical. You know what I'm saying? But if a nigga on that field trying, he ready to slap that nigga upside his head. I don't care what race he is. Nigga like, oh, you went at my knees, bro. He ready to fight you. But you scared of another man. They just had a meeting today with some NFL owners. Jaguar owner was a part of it. And they said all the owners told them niggas, we don't want y'all to protest. Figure a better way to do it. Straight up now. I rarely comment on them. Some of y'all know, some of y'all have seen them Action News comment boards and News for Jack. Them crackers go hard. I very rarely do it. I did it the other day. Cracker was selling out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, and he went to talk about get off the government titty and all this, that, and I ain't even say nothing about that. I say, really, Cracker? That's all you caught from that? Ain't nobody said nothing about no government titty, Cracker. That Cracker told me get over it. The Jews got over it. The Jews are not currently being oppressed though. You know what I'm saying? See, I hate crackers like that. Cause see, when they see that American flag, they feel like everybody's supposed to love it. You know what I'm talking about? Huh? That cracker said, get over it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We ain't got no boots, my nigga, cause last time I checked, ain't nobody bombed nothing with them crackers had going on. They show. Well, you tough, boy. Ford tough, too. You tough, boy. You taking them spills, you keep on going. You gonna master it, too, my nigga. Now, check it though. Ain't nobody, when they seen black people in Tulsa, Oklahoma doing something outside of them and it was prosperous, you destroyed it. Who allowed them to destroy it? You who allowed them to destroy it. But that's neither here nor there. That was in your heart because you were mad. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody never set no cross on fire in your yard. Ain't nobody ever bombed no church of any of y'all. Ain't nobody ever did that there unless you were in Ireland. And them white folks crazy, but that's something different. What else did these crackers do? Because they did more. Ain't nobody ever hung you from no tree. Ain't nobody hung your wife from no tree. And then we have to live with you disagreeable people. You know what I'm talking about? You're completely disagreeable. And that's the thing, like I said, right? What the white folks don't like is this. That when these dudes are kneeling, they have to deal with the fact of the people that you've been killing and oppressing for 400 years don't like it, and it forces themselves to look themselves in the mirror and see how perverse and wicked they are. And that's the same token, like I told you, that's how some people feel when that word comes. They don't want to look in the mirror and see what's actually being shown. You don't really want to see what's there. You don't really want to see that. So, like, them crackers really, really mad about these niggas kneeling. Cracker calling the Jaguar, talking about we want a refund on our season tickets. You cracker burning jerseys. And all I can think about is, wait till y'all burn your whole country down. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care where. Wait till he burn that down. Because you're going to be screaming and hollering. I want to tell that cracker, you say God bless America. What God you talking about? Because I surely know the God of heaven and earth says, damn you and your whole family line. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, though. Based on your behavior, not because of your race. Your behavior. You're an idolater. You're rebellious. You're stubborn. You're wicked. You're spiteful. You're a thief. You're a liar. You're a witch. You're a faggot. You're an adulterer. You're a murderer. You built your house upon unrighteousness. And you want me to stand up there and pledge to that and sing to that? Why would you want me to sing to a song that purposely didn't even include me? And you know the word part I hear when I hear niggas say they'll die for this country? You ought to be the first nigga y'all kill. For being stupid. I guarantee it wasn't too many dudes talking about, I'll die for Babylon. I'll die for Medes and Persia. I'll die for the Philistines. You know how asinine that sound, man? I'ma die for Dagon, the fish god. That's what niggas, you ain't read nowhere in that book they talking about they finna die for Dagon, the fish god. Let's die for Molech. Let's die for Milcom. And you around here talking about God bless America. You know what Jeremiah writes? Say God bless America. Say God damn America. It's in the Bible too. Come on back to Jeremiah 29. Yeah, that was disturbing though to hear grown men say I was scared of my owner. Listen how that sounds. I was scared of my owner. They didn't say I was scared of Mr. Jerry Richardson. They didn't say they were scared of management. They say I'm scared of my owner. You know how bad that sounds? To hear some black men say I was scared of my owner? Do you know how bad it is to hear them crackers say, y'all $1 million athletes, you should be thankful that you can make millions of dollars. That's what they crackers say. You should be appreciative that you can make millions of dollars. I hope he allowed me to stick a whole shotgun up your rectum and pull the trigger. You know what I'm talking about? Because a person who think like that, they really look at you like they doing you a favor. You know what I'm saying? But no matter what level, and that's what all them crackers were mad about, but that was the imagery or story of OJ with that music video was all about. And that's, you know what I'm saying? And truth be told, though most people don't really listen to this nigga's music from his inception to this particular point in time, that's what them boys was all about, was not them crackers cutting them a check, but cracker, we pay you. And we run this, and we don't answer to you. We do what we do. You know what I'm saying? That's what them boys was always about from the jump street. Nobody don't never, if you got to be in a partnership with a Caucasian, you want to have the upper hand. Because if they feel like they got the upper hand, they feel like they can play with you any kind of way. They feel like they can talk to you any kind of way. You know what I'm saying? And I know this younger generation ain't feeling that. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, the older nigga wasn't feeling it too. See, this is what they do when you, especially I told you this before. When you go to prison, they try to keep the young dudes away from the older dudes. Because they feel like the older dudes done been broken. You know what I'm saying? They gonna go in line. The first thing an older nigga say, it's they world, young blood. That junk used to piss me off. They hear these OD niggas say that. It's they world. I don't care who world it is, nigga. They bleed like we bleed. We can bust these crackers upside the head if you want to. I don't want to hear nothing about this day world. Them young niggas don't care nothing about that though. You know what I'm saying? They be ready to ride. Like, what you want to do? So they try to keep them away. And it's kind of like that now when you look in society. They try to pit the younger ones against the older ones. You know what I'm saying? You don't want them to actually get on the same page because the younger one's going to ride. The older one's going to give them wisdom. And then that's a mean combination. So them crackers try to keep you beefing against each other. The same way they try to keep you beefing. The man versus the woman to be beefing. I seen the brother say something very important. That you didn't really see a strong influx of single family homes in black neighborhoods and communities until they started closing the factories and all this stuff and funneling you to college and funneling you away from a trade. Because if you had a trade, you always got a job. You got a piece of paper, white man control you. You know what I'm saying? Because I can tell you got to get more education and then I'll hire you. But then the job never comes. Jeremiah 29:8. For thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, let not your prophets nor your diviners that be in the midst of you deceive you, neither hearken to your dreams which you cause to be dreamed, for they prophesy falsely unto you in my name. I have not sent them, saith Yahuwah. For thus saith Yahuwah, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you, and perform my good word to you, and causing you to return to this place. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith Yahuwah, thoughts of shalom and not of evil, to give you an unexpected end. Then you shall call upon me, and you shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you, and you shall seek me and find me when you shall search for me with all your heart. See, that's why we don't never really get to where we want to get to, because we just talk about searching for the man, right? So you remember what searching for you, seeking you, who was after? What did we go through about that? We just went through that not too long ago. You know, if you're going to search for this man for your whole heart, what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to sacrifice yourself. And if you're going to have to sacrifice yourself, then guess what that means you're going to have to do? You're going to have to afflict your soul. You're going to have to suffer in order for that atonement to be made. Zechariah chapter 7, though. Moving right along. We're just trying to help Alicia and Callie out, because I know they don't really know about atonement like that. Thanks for reminding us, because I was very aware of that fact, ma'am. Thank you. I reject that deposit. Zechariah 7:5 though. Listen what he say now. Speak unto all the people of the land and to the priests, saying, when you fasted and mourned in the 5th and 7th month, even though 70 years did you fast it all, even unto me. So let you know, during that time period, they were keeping atonement. And when you did eat and when you did drink, did you not eat for yourselves and drink for yourselves? Should you not hear the words which Yahuwah have cried by the former prophets when Jerusalem was inhabited and in prosperity, and the cities thereof round about her, when men inhabited the south and the plain? You notice that what he told you? Now when you in trouble, you want to pray and you want to cry unto me. He said you should have listened when you was in prosperity, when everything was well, when I was telling you to tighten up. That's what I meant when the brother was like, hey man, y'all will cause anybody can get a strong delusion. Anybody can't get a strong delusion. The people who get a strong delusion are the people who don't listen. People who are rebellious. People who are disobedient. People who hate what's right. They're gonna get a lie. He's gonna cause you to believe a lie. But this is the key thing what we looked at. If you fasting, are you fasting to him? Or you just fasting like how most Hebrews do? Whatever day they keep atonement on. Oh, I'm so hungry. Oh, I'm so thirsty. Some of these niggas done kept atonement 10, 15 times. Which means they've been doing this 10, 15 years. You know what I'm saying? 4, 5 years. Some of you niggas know you see niggas all up and down your page talking about how hungry they is. I can't wait for atonement to be over. Oh, I'm so thirsty. You're not fasting to Yahuwah. You doing it for yourself. Let's see why. Isaiah 58. I know this is the standard stuff, man. We're just doing it for them. If they wasn't here, I wouldn't even read it. No, but seriously though, if they wasn't here, I wouldn't even read it. Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 2. Isaiah 58 and 2. Little Paulie. That boy is on the move. Yet you seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinance of their Elohim. They ask of me the ordinance of justice. They take delight in approaching the Elohim. Wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thou see not? Wherefore have we afflicted our soul, and thou take no knowledge? Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labors. Behold, you fast for strife and debate, and you to smite with the fist of wickedness. You shall not fast as you do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high. And see, this is how they kill themselves, because you see he used the word afflict, which is the same word in Leviticus 23, and he's letting you know that the fasting is a humbling of yourself. Who can you read in the book who fasted and it was a sense for him to humble himself? There's somebody in the book who fasted for the humbling of themselves, so their voice could be heard. It wasn't heard though.
David.
Yeah, absolutely. David fasted. He humbled himself. You know, just like this here, right? And I done told y'all this before. We done went through this before. When you can abstain from the necessary things that your body needs, then you can abstain from the things that your body desires that it doesn't need. You know what I'm saying? Because you need to eat. If you don't eat, you will die. If you don't drink water, you will die. I ain't talking about drinking no lemonade, no tea, all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because in those times, the people didn't have the bevy of choices of beverage as we have now. You know what I'm saying? They pretty much had wine and water. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a little juice from some fruit every now and then. But pretty much it was wine and water. That's what they drank. You know what I'm saying? See, now you got everything. You got sodas and you got smoothies and you got this and you got that. But for the all intents and purposes, you don't have no water in your body, you will die. If you don't eat any food, you will die. So if you can maintain, see, that's the part that everybody be missing when they look at this particular day. If you can resist from the things that your body needs to stay alive, then you can resist from the things that your body desires that will cause you to die. So you can't tell me that you can't discipline yourself to do something, or else you just doing this just for to be seen of the people around you. But clearly we see that many people don't take atonement serious because they don't discipline their bodies throughout the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? And then guess what they want to do? This Jewish custom. I ain't seen too many people do it this year. If I offended anybody, I want to apologize. Nigga, you supposed to holler at that nigga long for the 10th day of the 7th month for you had offended, and you know you did it. You supposed to been hollered at this nigga. What you gonna wait till atonement for? Talking about atonement didn't mean to atone to your brother. That was atonement for the sins of the people as a nation. The book said if you got a problem with your brother, you gonna wait till you a wicked nigga. You offended your brother in the 2nd month. I'm gonna wait till atonement to say I'm sorry. You know how wicked that is? I'm gonna wait 5 months to say I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. Nevertheless, verse 3. What I'm at? Verse 5. He said, it's such a fast that I have chosen, a day for a man to afflict his soul. It is to bow down his head as a bulrush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him. Wilt thou call this a fast, an acceptable day to Yahuwah? Is not this the fast I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, and to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that you break every yoke? So guess what this takes us back to? This takes us back to Mashiach. Because that was the day where the oppressed went free. And he broke the yoke. Let's see how. Exodus chapter 31. Someone just got popped. Exodus 31 and verse 17. Now I'm going to ask y'all a question. Matter of fact, I'll ask Leisha. Leisha, hey Leisha, check this out. How many days was Moses on? Say what? Lying is a sin. That's what I thought. Do you know how many days that Moses was on the mountain for? Do you know how many days he was up there for?
40.
That is correct, ma'am. That is correct. They taught you that in Sunday school? Or you read that on your own?
Huh?
Honda.
What is that?
Okay, who give it an answer? They say somebody feeding you answers, Leisha. How you feel about that?
I don't know. Yeah. Stitches don't make it.
So that's accurate. So you actually didn't know the answer to the question then.
Anybody can give you answers.
Yeah, but you repeated it. So what that say about you?
Could have been dead wrong.
I wager Deidre probably told her that since she said something about the snitch. Yeah.
Val said.
Yes, he was on there 40 days and 40 nights. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
What was he doing up there for 40 days and 40 nights, Lisa? Don't help her out there, Deidre. Do you know what he was doing? Callie, do you know what he was doing? That is correct. You told her that, Stanley.
Nobody told her.
I know that. I didn't say nobody told her. She said it too fast for one of y'all to tell her.
No, I told her.
No, I say this.
She probably knew it though. She know a little stuff. I don't really try to teach her. I let her feed on her own.
Hey, I ain't mad at you, shoot.
Yeah,
Go ahead, girl. Yeah, I ain't mad at you. So if he was up there fasting, then what was he technically doing, Deidre? He was humbling himself. Now keep that in mind. I want y'all follow me though.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. What else? What was he getting up there, Shayla? Yeah, she was. I was aware. I was aware.
Shayla?
Eat the Bible.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Actually, I can give you a book for that. Let him eat it. Let him eat it. Let him eat the roll. It'll be sweet in his belly like honey. Let him eat the roll. I said, Shayla, what was he up there doing when he was up there for them 40 days? What was he up there doing?
What did he go get?
You gotta say what he went.
I ain't got to say what shit.
I say doing a lot of things.
I say, what was Moses up there doing on that mountain for them 40 days?
But didn't Callie say it already?
She said fasting and praying. There's another element that has not been mentioned. Nah, he wasn't doing that. Well, let's read it anyway. 31 and 17. 31 and 17. 31 and 17.
Yeah.
It is a sign between me and the children of Yasharal forever. For in 6 days Yahuwah made Shamahim and Aras, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he made end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of Elohim. Now we did have a conversation about this the other day, right? Will, what was the main key point we sit back and look at? What are those 2 tables of stone representative of?
Written token of the marriage.
The written token of the marriage. So, in the Ark of the Covenant, Darius, what was the only thing in the Ark of the Covenant? Was just the testimony. Because, and the reason why I mentioned it is wherever that ark went, all of our enemies knew that was record that we were his people.
What is a staff?
No, that was the only thing in there. Because we read that to dog. Where it said that the only thing in the ark saved the 2 tables of stone. It wasn't nothing else in that other than that.
Where is Aaron's rod at?
That was in the temple.
And you said that was the marriage covenant, right?
That's the marriage covenant. That was proof that we were his people.
That he bought.
That's why he said he'll cause your name. We don't have no proof anymore that we his people, because that Ark of the Covenant is not present in the physical sense. They can't see it. You know what I'm saying? So the proof that we actually his people is engraved in the hands of his son. That's the proof. But they can't see that. Oh yeah, that's Tony. You called me earlier. I talked to him twice.
One from OC.
Yeah, he said he's starting to understand a little better. Nah, he said he went to Chicago for Passover and he's starting to see he was with some Ben Ami cats. And he said he was starting to see what I was telling him, the cultural differences of where he couldn't catch and grasp, and he's starting to understand a little better why brothers say the stuff that they say. And because I already knew that you don't live here, you don't understand, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So you thinking dudes is like, one of the things I explained to him today, and he started to see it, is that honestly, 95% of our people in America do not know that they Israelites. So when you online and it seems like you're dealing with and talking with so many different people, if you don't live here, you would think that every black person over here knows that. But in reality, they don't. You know what I'm saying? And when you bring that up to them, they either think you crazy or they done ran across them niggas in the street and wherever they at, and they don't want to do with that. But then at the same token, majority of black people, they don't know who IUIC is. They don't know who ISUPK is. Like the average black person, they don't know who these niggas is. But because a nigga live in an internet bubble, they think everybody know who you are. Nobody knows who General Yohana is. Nobody knows who Nathaniel Israel is. Nobody knows who Tahar is.
Everybody knows the walking guy.
Tazadaki?
Teriyaki. Yeah,
Everybody knows.
Musha said he known because he bringing in by the 20,000. Henry!
You thought I was going to sleep, huh? Gotcha.
Henry. 32-1 though. Huh? 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 Well, you got a natural temp fade, boy. You gonna rhyme like your pops? You do it. Say, when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mountain, the people gathered themselves together upon Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods which shall go before us, for as this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Mizraim, we wot not what is become of him. Listen to that, right? They said they didn't know what happened to him. Pause. Matthew chapter 27 and verse 60. Matthew chapter 27. Verse 62. Huh? Henry J. Bellington. Hank. Now the next day that followed, the day of the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together unto Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember that the deceiver said, while he was yet alive, after 3 days I will rise again. Command therefore that the sepulchre be made sure until the third day, lest the disciples come by night and steal him away, and say unto the people, He's risen from the dead. So the last error shall be worse than the first. Pilate said unto them, You have a watch, go your way and make it sure as you can. So they went and made the sepulchre sure, sealing the stone and setting a watch. Now for all intents and purposes, we know in Luke 24, they said this was the third day, and they came back to the grave and they felt like he was gone, he wasn't coming back. Now come on back to Exodus 32. Just wanted to mention that to keep that in mind. Who that is? I don't know who that is. They ain't pleased, I know that. Verse 2, right? No, we can drop down, right? Now I'm going to ask y'all a question. What do the people do while Moses is up on the mountain? Leisha? Yeah, because y'all having a lot of conversation. I'm going to keep you niggas. What was the people doing when Moses was up on the mountain, Leisha? What the people were doing? Nobody try to feed it, no answer now. Wrong answer. Callie, what the people was up there, down there doing? What was they doing, Callie? You know what they were doing down there? What were they doing, Deidre? Don't tell them what they were doing. Say he took too long to come back. Now come over here to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Henry, you cannot consume that. You want to read? Huh? Huh? I did. You did it? You did. Yes. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Probably about verse 2, I suppose. Nah, make it verse 5. 1 Corinthians 10 and 5. He said, but with many of them Elohim was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now these things were our example, to the intent we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Because that's what happened. They made that golden calf, and then them niggas sat around playing. See, now let's look at something else. Let's go to Luke chapter 17. Because see, that's what a lot of people doing in their word. They sitting around playing. You know what I'm saying? That's what the dude told me this other day. Well, it's no joke. Dude told me that he felt like I wasn't happy because how hard I go with the word. Because he said, I've never seen you post any pictures on the internet smiling or nothing. And he said, that nigga's not happy. Listen to him. I can tell you're not happy. I say, my nigga, you can't judge a nigga happiness based off what you see on the internet. Nigga, the word is my occupation. It's my vocation. It's my skill. It's what I do for a living. You have to be serious with it. You know what I'm saying? And what the thing is, though, you crack a lot of jokes. At the same time, though, I can get definitely serious very, very quickly. But you know what I'm talking about? But you know, hey, it is what it is. But at the same token, you know, bro, don't know me. I ain't mad. But at the same token, he was only saying that because the nigga was, I didn't mention it, but his homeboy was mentioning his sins. And he didn't want to have the conversation. Yeah, that's where that came from. Well, you sitting over there, boy, you got your hands all in between your legs, y'all right?
Cool.
You sleeping like it too. You sleeping just like a nigga in the condo. Yeah, I just had to mess with you. Luke 17 and 20 and 25. Make it 24. For as the lightning that lightened out of one part of the Shamahim shine into the other part of the Shamahim, so shall also the Son of Man be in his day. But first he must suffer. He got to afflict himself, right? Many things and be rejected of this generation. Same thing you seeing with Moses to a certain extent. He was being rejected. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from Shamahim and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. That lets you know. Listen to me, right? I want you to follow me on this here. This lets you know you're not going to no wilderness. That lets you know there ain't finna be no Max Thunderdome stuff like niggas talking about, and niggas just gonna be running around living primitively. Because is that what it said? It said in the days of Sodom, they were doing what? Buying, selling, planting, building. That means they were going about their average everyday life like they're doing now. Ain't it? You're just going to be under harsh oppression. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be under a rule of a man who will slaughter people with impunity. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. But ain't that's how people make it think that the new world order, everything going to be primitive? Niggas going to be running around here. How we going to eat? You're going to have to live off the land. You're going to have to grow you some food. You're going to have to know how to hunt. Nigga, you going to keep doing the same thing you've been doing. Ain't that what he just told you? When that flood came, he said them boys were living their regular life. And then the rain came. Say when fire and brimstone came to get Sodom and Gomorrah, what they were doing? Living their regular life. They were living their regular life. So when Yahushua come back, guess what you niggas gonna be doing? Chilling. Boy, you seen the game last night, boy? Boy, look at all these. Me and D just were talking about this here. Look at how wicked and hypocritical niggas is. R. Kelly got young girls. He a pervert. Hugh Hefner dies. R.I.P. This nigga been putting young butt naked girls on the cover of his magazine for 40, 50 years.
It was really his magazine.
He started it. He founded it. Playboy was all him. Everything. Founded that. And never sold it. Kept complete control. I forget the name of the dude who created Hustler. They made a movie by him. Because he was a prick. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down though. But he got his stuff out there. But see, I'm just sitting back looking at Hugh Hefner. I'm talking about just as many black people that said, oh man, R.I.P. Hugh Hefner. Just like this here. My homegirl said a nigga say French Montana was like, oh man, life's too short. This cracker was 91 years old, man. He was on borrowed time. And guess what's gonna happen to him when he wake up in there? He gonna have that nice little roll. You going to hell, buddy. Singing a lot, fornicating all across the nation, committing adultery. I can't even say that. Committing adultery.
Y'all let him live to see 91 to do it.
So he can go to hell. Let him have. You know, we done had a conversation about this here. I want to see what anybody know this here. What is adultery, Stanley?
You sleep. You married and you sleep, or you could sleep. You sleep with somebody that's married, or you married and you could sleep with somebody.
Okay, let me ask you this here. I'm gonna ask somebody who don't know. At least, no, I ain't gonna ask you. I mess with you all the time. Callie, what is fornication? Yeah, we were told that adultery was fornication.
Oh, her?
Dead serious, not being funny.
But I guess because they say you have to have sex.
Because if you do look up the definition of fornication, it can have multiple different definitions. But by product of being married, you cannot commit fornication.
No, you only could commit adultery.
You can only commit adultery. Now I'm telling you this here because there's a lot of Hebrews that believe this. A lot of Hebrews believe that if a man sleeps with another woman, that he cannot commit adultery. And that adultery is only if he sleeps with another man's wife and not if he sleeps with another woman. You have a lot of Hebrews that believe that. That if you married and you sleep with Brother Henry's wife, now you done committed adultery. Mm-hmm. But if you sleep with this woman around the corner, that ain't adultery.
Okay, I see what they're saying.
But they feel like a woman commit adultery anytime she busts it open for anybody. You don't make no difference. But guess what? The book said you're an adulterer either way. Don't make no difference. How is what adultery? I'm not understanding what you asked me.
So if you look at someone with lustful intentions.
How is it adultery if a man is married to a woman that's his wife, but he end up being with another woman, but she don't have a husband? They was doing it in the book. They had handmaids.
What you talking about? A handmaid is different. You talking about a concubine? You know what I'm saying? A concubine was a woman who was married to a man, but she didn't have marital status in the house. You know what I'm saying? But it's not lawful for a man to have a concubine. And then only people who had concubines at that time were rulers. You know what I'm saying? Kings.
She probably saying, how is that not adultery at that point?
Because they were considered to be multiple wives for them.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? When you talk about you married, you see this girl around the corner, and you sleep with her. Like the example.
The handmaids was married.
They were.
The handmaids were servants of the wives, and then the wives would give the handmaid to her husband for whatever reason, and she would end up becoming his concubine.
So when they get married, it's called a concubine.
A concubine is like when you see with Solomon, it said he had 700 wives and 300 concubines.
I'm thinking about Abraham with the handmaid. I know it said he married Hagar.
No, he never married Hagar. He laid with Hagar. Hagar was Sarah's handmaid. Sarah couldn't have a baby. So in those times, you would give a woman to your husband if you couldn't have a child, and the child that she birthed would be considered to be his wife's child.
But it wasn't adultery. It wasn't considered adultery for them to do that.
No, hold on. I got you, Tony. No, because it's not adultery because they were. Yeah, I got you. You good? I was finna text you the number, but you good? You can keep it like that, Tony. Now, what I was gonna say is that
it's not working.
It's all right. You good? You could just stay on my phone. You straight? So the point of the matter is those women were considered to be wives, so to speak, of that particular man. These men didn't go out and say, "Ooh, example."
But that's what I said. In verse 3, it said, "And gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife."
Because he had sex with her. So that's how they gonna phrase it.
But she's an extension of his wife.
So she's a concubine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He married her, right? Like he married her.
He didn't enter into a covenant with her. She's considered to be his wife because she's the property of his wife.
Yeah, she's an extension.
Oh, so I guess when I'm reading it with the English concept,
It's the same token with Leah's handmaids. They technically became Jacob's wives, but because he was married to Leah and Rachel. See, Rachel was only giving her handmaids to Jacob because Leah was having kids and she couldn't.
I'm just thinking they did some type of marriage though, like
It
love.
doesn't matter. Those women had no rights. They were servants to the wife.
I think they was wives, but just
they weren't even considered wives. They were concubines. A concubine has no marital rights, status in the household. Period. She's called a wife.
Okay, maybe that's.
But look at the word for wife though.
But she's not a wife. Just like when you see at the end, when it had David had them 2 concubines at the end and he ain't sleep with him before he died, he ain't touch her, and they say they were widows for the rest of their life. You know what I'm saying? But they were not considered his wives. So I now understand what she's talking about. In this instance where a handmaid or a concubine is given to you, that's not adultery because you are joined to them women. Adultery is
like what Judah did.
What Judah did.
Yeah.
Judah committed adultery.
You went and sought out a tender
whore,
and you slid her.
and you laid with her.
And you left her.
That's why when he walked off and she straightened him, he said, "You more righteous than I am," because he already knew he was wrong. You know what I'm saying? You ain't had no business going to sleep with this woman, no way, because you got a wife. That's adultery. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no business doing that.
So if the wife didn't know, then would it be considered adultery? If the wife didn't know that the husband was sleeping with the handmaid.
No, there wouldn't be. There's not an instance in the word where that would happen. Like a man wouldn't just go sleep with the handmaid. She would have to be given to him. If he a righteous man, he ain't gonna operate like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, what T asking, like him, the multiple. See, there's a difference between a wife and a concubine, and I think that's where the confusion coming in at on what y'all asking me. Even with a concubine, he may have not mistreated that woman, but she did not have the same rights that a wife had. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't remember Rachel's and Leah's handmaids' names off the top of my head.
Leah and Bilhah.
Yeah, like Bilhah did not have the same rights that Leah had.
Bilhah and Zilpah.
Yeah, Zilpah didn't have the same rights that Rachel had. It's totally different scenario because they weren't wives; they were concubines.
But it's not adultery because he's still providing and taking care of them because they are in his home
and they're in his household,
of his family. He still have the right.
Like that wasn't adultery for Abraham to lay with Hagar because of the custom of the land at that time.
She already living in his house and he taking care of her already.
Already.
Without him laying with her.
But because Sarah
if Sarah didn't give her to Abraham, he couldn't.
He wouldn't have laid with her. He wouldn't even did it. Jacob wouldn't have laid with their hand. They were considered to be servants. The reason why that was done is because Rachel couldn't have children. So this woman can have children in my stead, and the child that she has is considered to be my child. The same way if your brother dies and he ain't had a child and you marry his wife to raise up a child in his name. That was the custom.
According to the law, you could do that if you was already
What was the point of him sleeping with a handmaid to have a baby if Sarah ended up having the baby anyway?
Because Sarah didn't believe that she could bear. Sarah did that. Abraham didn't do that. Sarah gave Hagar to Abraham.
She meant she was wrong.
You know what I'm saying? Abraham didn't seek Hagar out for that cause and for that purpose.
Right, I know that, I understand it, but what I'm trying to say is Sarah ended up having the baby at the end of the day. She ended up being able to conceive, so what was the point? The
point of the matter was she didn't believe the promise. That's why she gave Hagar to him.
And that's why Isaac is she lied. She didn't believe him.
Yeah, that's why exactly. That's why Isaac and that's the other point. Isaac's name means laugh because when she heard y'all said it, she laughed.
She didn't believe.
She did not believe that she was gonna have a baby. You know what I'm saying? So she shot him Hagar. And that's why y'all came back and told her around, shoot, go ahead and get that nigga up out of here. Shoot, listen to your wife, because he ain't even supposed to have been here in the first place. But y'all went ahead and did what you wanted to do, and I let that slide.
It's funny how you don't never speak on Abraham, like, saying something like that. Like, just have faith, I'm not going to slide him. You would think he would have did that.
Yeah. He ain't slide Abraham for knocking her down.
Yeah, that.
He let that go, cuz. You know what I told you, but this what your wife did, so just go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? Just it's the same token of he had already told Jacob what was going to come out of his loins and how many kids he was going to have. You know what I'm saying? But those women were in competition with each other, which actually shows you what it say that Judah will envy Ephraim and things of that nature, because that pretty much what happened. You know what I'm saying? Because Rachel was Ephraim, Leah was Judah, and Rachel and Leah envied Judah because because Elohim loved Judah more than he loved Ephraim.
Rachel is Judah, Leah is Ephraim.
You know what I'm saying? Pretty much, you know what I'm saying?
Because she had the nations, the multitude.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Envy and all that stuff go into it, because that's all Rachel and Leah was a competition with one another for this man affection. But he loved Rachel off the rip, and it wasn't nothing that Leah could do for that. Nothing was gonna change that. What is these niggas back here talking about?
That's what I hate, the double standard. I don't respect it. Don't quiet your searches down.
Yeah, because I like when you was asking them questions, they was in tune.
Yeah, that's because they so far back they can't hear.
Yeah. But yeah, I seen that's when they was all working together, trying to.
That's it. Hey, they say what y'all talking about back there. They say they're desirous to know. But you understand, I'm dead serious though. You have to sit back and look at that at the same token. Because it's a double standard of how dudes in these days and times do it. A woman can always commit adultery, but a man can't. You know what I'm saying? See, now you have to look at it. A man can't take no concubine. Because you in Mashiach now. It's one body. Can't have no multiple wives. You can't say by this man's blood you a king, and the law say a king can only have one wife. You can't do that. So you go lay with another woman outside of your wife, you have committed adultery. Because you ain't got no bit of doing that. See, they didn't look at it as like what David did. He knew Bathsheba was married to Uriah the Hittite. So you knew this was somebody else's wife before you laid with her. But that's why Yahushua took it a step further with the action of David. If you lusting after this woman in your heart, you done already done it. Because if the intent done started in your heart, it ain't but a moment, it ain't but a while before you actually go do it. Because your inward parts has already defiled you, because you already done committed the sin in your heart. It ain't but a matter of time before you go do it. Nevertheless, we finished with this Luke 17. What was that for that? Come on back to Exodus chapter 32. Exodus chapter 32. Where we at, right? Verse 5. It said, and Aaron saw it, and he built an altar before it. Now they done made this golden calf, right? And Aaron made proclamation and said, tomorrow is a feast to Yahuwah. And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, go get thee down, for thy people which thou brought out of the land of Mizraim have corrupted themselves. Pause. Now let's come back over here and let's look at Leviticus chapter 16, because it say the people done corrupted themselves. For you, Felicia and Khaled, this is the ordinance that talks about the Day of Atonement. You might want to read it on your own time. I'm not being humorous at this moment in time. Dead serious right now. All of that whole entire chapter. You might want to familiarize yourself with it. The whole chapter about the Day of Atonement. We do not have the time. There is a video somewhere in the archive somewhere where we dealt with this whole entire chapter. We could be here all night if we dealt with that. Let's see, right? 16 and 6. Make it 16 and 5. And it say, he shall take of the congregation of the children of Yasharal 2 kids of the goats for a sin offering, and 1 ram for a burnt offering. Because remember, it says you got to offer a burnt offering, what we read in Leviticus chapter 23 about the Day of Atonement. I want y'all to keep this in mind of what we're looking at in Exodus, because we get into something in Exodus. And Aaron shall offer his bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and make atonement for himself and for his house. So how does he make an atonement for him? If Aaron's the high priest and he say he got to make an atonement for himself and his house, How does this pertain to Mashiach and what he accomplished?
He made himself become sin.
Well, let's pause and let's look at it. Zechariah chapter 12 and verse 7. John chapter 1. And then John chapter 10. Zechariah 12 and 7. I don't want y'all to sit back and look at this day as this is just a day you don't eat. You don't need to be looking at any of these days as just regular days. You don't need to be looking at nothing about the testimony of Mashiach as if it's just, oh, we pulling this stuff out. There is a concept that is applied to it. We know that he afflicted and humbled himself on that particular day to make atonement for the people. So what you actually acknowledge and what this day for, even though he actually did not die on the 10th day of the 7th month, but fulfill what happened on the 10th day of the 7th month, is that your sins could be forgiven. And that this doesn't have to be done. No high priest has to go into a tabernacle and make an offering for himself and then for you. It's already been done. This is why the man say, ain't no more sacrifice for sins if you sin willfully, because you have a perpetual atonement for your sin. You ain't got no business sinning willfully. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why this man came up every year to do this here, so the people could be covered. You don't have that problem anymore. You don't have to do that. This man done did that. Well, thank you, sir. Well, take it with you then. How about that? You're getting aggressive in your old age. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. Zechariah 12 and 7. Yahuwah shall also say the tents of Yehuda first, that the esteem of the house of David and the esteem of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Yehuda. Let's look at John chapter 1. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. After John chapter 1, John chapter 10, and then Hebrews chapter 7. Henry. 1 and 8. That is not yours, sir. Ain't you supposed to be asleep? You ain't that cute. Go sit down. Keep working it too. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness to that light. No more. That was the true light which light every man that come into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. Who did he come to? If you remember what we've been looking at with all these, through the entire chronicles of these kings, where was the house of Yasharal at the time Hamashiach was on the earth? Where were they at? They were gone. That's 2 Kings chapter 17. They were gone. So he couldn't come to Yasharal. They were gone. Do you know how that applies to the law? You know the difference is he came into his own, but his own received him not. Because there's two people in the book came to their own, but their own received him. Because Isaac came into his own to receive his wife. Rebekah was near kinfolk for him. Jacob came on to receive his wife. Rachel was near kin. They were cousins. First cousins more than likely. Because whether you know it or not, it's not unlawful for you to marry your first cousin. Quite disturbing in our days and times, but it's not unlawful. I would not marry my first cousin, but you won't go to hell if you do. A lot of them did that there. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. That's what Abraham did too. He married his sister. He told you that. Say that's not my daddy's daughter, mama's daughter. But you know the book tell you that not as far as marrying your near kinfolk in that aspect, but like I told y'all a while back, what Ghostface said on Glaciers of Ice, and which Jay referenced on Legacy. My seeds marry your seeds, and this is how we keep this stuff all in the family. And that's what the book say. Why would you give your gifts unto a stranger? Why would you go outside and give it to somebody else? Now, of course, we know if you want to marry somebody outside of the nation of Yasharal that fears Yahuwah, that's your prerogative. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
No white woman?
Absolutely not, under no circumstance. If I had to, I wouldn't care what she had. If I had the choice of marrying a white woman or being alone, I would continue to abide in alone. Huh? I'm not marrying a white woman.
But you're a racist?
I'm not marrying no white woman.
It's Beyonce.
I'm not marrying. I know he ain't gonna tell me to marry no white woman. You know why I know he ain't gonna tell me to marry? Because for the simple fact that can't no priest be married to no stranger? No way.
What I'm saying, we know we ain't none of that no more.
Shoot, the laws of that still apply.
We under the order of Melchizedek.
Yeah, and the same rule. Priest can't marry you can't have no whore.
She ain't no whore, she a fearful woman.
I don't know, shoot, that's a whole background.
Bro, just like he told Jose to get that whore, bro.
Jose wasn't no priest though, was he?
He was a prophet.
Yeah, clothes, different thing. But I can't, a white woman can't relate to me. How can a white woman relate to me?
Cause she got y'all, bro.
How can that woman can never relate to you because she ain't black?
Ain't about the
I don't know. I feel like you just played some words wrong.
Yeah, man.
Cause from my knowledge, I'm gonna be wrong.
Go ahead.
When he said ain't no
Jew
or Greek.
Yeah, he talking about in the body of Mashiach.
Yeah, so she in the body.
But that ain't got nothing to do with the rules of who you can be married to. That's just like a priest said a priest can't be married to a profane woman, he can't be married to a whore, and he can't marry a stranger.
I'm saying, but
how can she be a stranger?
But that's natural born. Like if she in Mashiach, there's no difference in him. But
so
those rules, okay, then at the same token, then a Gentile should be able to preach the word then. If they ain't no Yahoo Demon Greek.
No.
The same rules apply.
No. I'm looking at if she a whore, if she born again, she not.
Oh no, they ain't got nothing to do with it. Like this here, boy, she got ain't no. That the case, everybody ain't no whore then. But he saying you can't marry no whore because remember he said that woman got to be just and upright. So he ain't care nothing about all that. Well, if she got too many long line, you gotta leave her where you found that.
We're not saying she was a whore. We saying that she a white woman.
That same example though.
Yeah, I mean it's different because Jose was a prophet.
I feel that. All right, we'll talk about that later.
He wasn't no priest. But like this here, would you marry a white woman, nigga?
No. That's just my preference. I wouldn't.
I know I'm not marrying a white woman. I'm good on that.
White woman, bro.
Well, this here, right? But number one thing for certain, and two things for sure. Y'all don't send a woman to no man. He send a man to the woman. And I ain't seen y'all send no man of Yasharah to no stranger. You said talking about what he said. He didn't say the woman that find the husband find a good thing. He said the man that find the wife find a good thing. And that man told you drink waters out your own well.
Bro, that's what he's saying, bro.
You drink water out your own well.
He said, what you call it out there to meet the servant?
Who?
He said, what you call a wife out there to meet the servant?
Who servant?
Abraham's servant.
That was his near kinsman.
He sent her out there.
But she was a near kinsman. She wasn't no stranger. She was definitely not a stranger.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say too about that same. He sent a man to go find her. But guess what? He didn't send the woman to find him.
Yeah, I received that.
Technically, because he had to pray for her to come.
With Abraham, he sent his servant, and then Rebecca had the option if she wanted to go with him or not. Do you know what I'm saying? And she said, "I would go."
But it was based off what she did in order for him to discern if it was going to be the wife or not.
No, he had to discern it, but the point of the game is though, Rebecca didn't go looking for the husband. The servant was sent to find her. You know what I'm saying? You will never see a woman finding her husband. The husband finds the woman.
She just at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, she just was at the right place at the right time. But a man was sent to be at the right place at the right time to find her. Because Proverbs 18 and 20 or 21 say, it might be 22, he that findeth a wife find a good thing. A woman ain't supposed to be going to seek no husband. Your husband will find you. Because the master say, I am not sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Yasharah. He went to find his wife. She didn't have to go looking for him. He went looking for her. You know what I'm saying? Even with Jacob, Rachel didn't find him. They told him, go to your uncle Laban and get you a wife from them. You know what I'm saying? He sent him to go find a wife. You know what I'm saying? If a woman around here looking for, if you find you a husband, you searching for him, there's a good chance that y'all might not have nothing to do with that.
Serious? Lebanon people?
Yeah, they were Syrians.
And they not strangers?
No, they ain't strangers because
what?
what?
Say it's Syrian ready to perish.
Yeah, that's it. That's his people.
Abraham.
That's his cousin. Rachel was his cousin.
That's Rebecca's daddy. Oh,
So-
brother. Rebecca.
So no.
That was his cousin.
What about Ishmael, like an Arab or Ishmael woman?
Yeah, that's how. They're my brother.
This-
Yeah.
I mean, them your people, but that's outside your well because them ain't your people. All he telling you that is for is to keep it in the family. Now, of course, you can marry somebody who of the faith, but then if you in the priesthood, it's different. Just like we read when we were talking about, like when my pop died, it's different rules that apply. Any one of y'all can make yourself unclean for a dead body. I can't. You know what I'm saying? You can make yourself unclean for your auntie, for your cousin.
Well, if somebody got technical, say we all kings and priests through the blood.
No, but he talking about, but at the same token, then you can't make yourself unclean for certain people if you say that, because there's different rules that apply for a priest when it comes to that. There were different rules, and we're gonna look at that when we look at the law. There were different rules for the priests that didn't pertain to the people as a whole.
I know that. I agree.
But
with
I
that.
bet a lot of people don't know that though. A lot of people don't know that though.
What about the man? What about the man, stranger?
You can marry a stranger if you so choose.
Huh?
A man can marry a stranger if he so choose. That's his choice. But if he's a
No. What if the man's a stranger? What if the man's a stranger? He's restricted to marrying who?
he can marry whoever he want to marry if he a stranger and he serve y'all. Then one.
But ain't we priests too though?
You priest in Mashiach, but then you got to sitting back. Are you priest in the priesthood as forth as administering the word? Like that, all the people seeking the law from your mouth. Did Yah send you to administer the word?
That's why I said he apostle.
Then
I ain't
those,
trying to be funny.
but then those rules apply.
I'm just trying to catch.
No, I mean I know what you're talking about because he talking about Isaiah 61. You talking about Revelation 1. You talking about Revelation 5. You talking about his Exodus
But that
19.
But that needs to be clarified though.
You know what I'm saying? You have a kingdom of priests.
People feel as if we are priests now under the order of Melchizedek.
I already know
So
that,
we
but-
don't have a higher position than
But that guy
that's
is
us looking at
the other
look at
strangers,
that
right?
like you saying.
I mean, a man who's a stranger. Hold on.
Dated priest.
It's not all.
At that point.
At that point,
It's not all
I feel
Israel
you.
going to come
Yeah.
down
I'm-
to
I ain't
another
seen-
country and minister to everyone in another country.
Yeah.
So who's going to minister to them?
Okay, go. We get
So
off
it's going to
track.
take a stranger to minister to other strangers.
Well, I ain't never read no book where strangers was a minister and other strangers. I can't show. I don't have any book for that. You know what I'm saying? I don't. So I can't say that scripturally. I can say that. I can say that anybody in the faith can marry whoever they wish. You know what I'm saying? But just like Exodus 19, to deal with what you said, he said you call kingdoms of priests. That's what he said. But then when you got in Numbers 18, you seen clearly everybody ain't no priest, and that priesthood was given to a select group of individuals.
Yeah. But that ain't no different.
And then the rules that apply to those individuals who were applicable to the priesthood that's in Leviticus apply to them. Now you're in the priesthood of Melchizedek. If you are an apostle, a pastor, a prophet, evangelist, or a teacher, those same rules that apply to them priests then apply to you. You know what I'm saying? Even
to all them
them same,
factions of the body.
yeah, that apply to them. But those people but the people are still considered to be a kingdom of priests because Peter mentions that in 1 Peter chapter 2. But everybody is not a priest because everybody doesn't have that job in his body. Everybody's not an apostle. Everybody's not a prophet. Everybody's not a pastor. Everybody's not a teacher. Everybody's not an evangelist.
But all them bodies don't hold that. You just said if you're a prophet, you can marry them at that point.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel say. He the only one because he's not considered to be a priest. Ruth wasn't pursuing Boaz. Ruth was in a situation was she had done died. Her husband had done died, and then they didn't know that she had a relative. Because we just dealt with Ruth the other night, didn't we? That is a Deuteronomy 25 situation. That is a Leviticus 25 situation. She was already married. Her husband died. They didn't have a child. They didn't know that she had a near kinsman to raise up a child unto his name. They find out about Boaz, and then Boaz was also able to redeem land and to also raise up a child unto his dead kinsman's name. And he actually married Ruth because he was redeeming the land that her dead husband had, and she was a package deal. You know what I'm saying? Because we just talked about this. We just talked about this the other night. Just show somebody this. But if you look at Ruth is a Leviticus 25 and a Deuteronomy 25 situation. She didn't have any kids. Husband died. She cleaved unto her husband's mother, and they found out she had a near kinsman.
She was only been able to marry.
And that's the only person she could have married.
Yeah. So she couldn't even search.
You know what I'm saying? That wasn't, and truth be told, Naomi is the one who set that up and told her to be in this spot and this spot. Because Naomi the one set all that up. Nevertheless, John chapter 10, verse 16. Yeah, I've been had some stuff I got in Ruth for a while, but yeah, Naomi set that up. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did not know that Ruth was his near kinsman, because if he would have known, he probably would have married her off the rip. 10 and 16. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them also I must bring. And they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. We know that's Ezekiel 37. You know what I'm saying? This is him saving Yehuda first. Hebrews 7 and 14. So where do we start from with that? Oh, Leviticus 16. Of him making atonement for him and his house. So Yahushua made an atonement for what? For himself? By offering himself. And then he made it for the house of Yehuda. You know why he had to make it for the house of Yehuda first? Let me see this here. Hey D, why do you think that Yahushua had to make an offering for himself in the house of Yehuda first? Because I think we just talked about this the other day. That's why I'm asking this.
In the house of, so you like Darius?
No, like you. I would say what you dropped in that text the other day, because that was hilarious to me, because she put a whole name in the middle initial. That was funny.
Okay, the question you said, why he had to make a sacrifice?
For himself, because remember, we looking at Leviticus 16 and say Aaron made a sacrifice for himself and his house. Now we turn and see that Yahushua said that he came unto his own received and not. The tents of Yehuda had to be saved first. So he made an offering for himself and his house. Why would he need to do that? And it just escaped my mind. We just talked about this the other day too.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying. And it just started out my mind because we just had this discussion.
Why he had to do that first?
Why did he have to make an offering for his household first?
I thought it was because the promise he made to David that he was going to.
You had that. He said he had a lot in Jerusalem. But we talking about why would he need to make an atonement for his own household before Yasharal? I think it was just in my head and I forgot it. It'll come back in a minute.
Because at that point they were strangers and you got to cover your house first.
Yeah, take care of his own house. But the thing is though, he got to cover his tribe first because this is where he come from. Yasharal's not in the land.
Right, I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? But it was something else. And it just fell out of my mind when I was asking her that. Now where we were going after that. Hebrews 7 and 14. Because it was something that me and her were just talking about. Make it 7 and 11. Hebrews 7 and 11. It'll come back. I'm trying to think. He said, therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the Torah. What further need was there that another priest should rise after the order of Melchizedek and not be called after the order of Aaron? For the priesthood being changed, there is made a necessity a change also of the Torah. For he of whom these things are spoken pertain to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar. For it is evident that our master sprang out of Yehuda, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. And it is yet far more evident, for that after the similitude of Melchizedek, there arise another priest, who is made not after the Torah of carnal commandment, but after the power of endless life. When it say the Torah of carnal commandment, you need to know that that is Numbers chapter 18. That carnal commandment meaning that the high priest had to come from the sons of Aaron. That's what he means. That's what you need to know. That's what he's talking about. The priesthood, that carnal commandment mean you could not be a high priest if you were a son of David. You couldn't be a high priest if you were from the tribe of Naphtali or Zebulon or Asher. That's a carnal commandment. That commandment was Levi, Aaron. That's it. If you were a son of somebody else in Levi, you couldn't be a high priest. You had to be from Aaron's line, or you couldn't fulfill that role. Like Korah them did, trying to fulfill a role of which did not pertain to them. But they weren't from Aaron's seed, so you couldn't slide in that spot. Moses' spot was something totally different. That's why you see a king and a high priest. Every high priest was from the son of Aaron. And truth be told, to a certain extent, the high priest really actually outranked the king. To be dead honest, you know what I'm saying?
The king still had offered sacrifice. The king still
I
had
can't
offered
throw
sacrifice of sin through the high priest.
Through the high priest. King couldn't do that. In actuality and reality, the high priest is in higher authority than the king. Because the high priest is the one who make the offerings and the sacrifices, and the one who get direct word from Yah on what the people ought to do. And they had the Urim and the Thummim. The king didn't have that.
Moses was both.
Moses was both. Moses was in a whole nother category. Moses wasn't high priest, but he was considered to be a king.
I was thinking what you said.
But he still was a priest.
He was still a priest because he was from the tribe of Levi, but he wasn't a high priest. But he still operated in the high priest functions at times.
That's still the book too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
King and a high priest.
That's what I was thinking.
That's why he had both of them, a king and a high priest. It got to be that way. Ain't nothing done by mistake. That's why he said everything have its mate. That's why I always implore y'all to read.
So y'all like the king and Yahushua is the high priest, in a sense. Can it look?
Yeah, because it says that Yahuwah is the king. Yahuwah is the king of kings. Yahushua is the king amongst men. You know what I'm saying? That's what dudes get it twisted. They say people worshiping Yahushua and putting him above Yahuwah. Only people, if they say that because they lack understanding when people express it. We know Yahuwah is the king of kings, according to the law, because he said, enthroned, I'm greater than you. That's what he told Joseph. But Joseph was greater than everyone. And that's what Yahuwah's desire was, that y'all gonna treat Joseph like you treat me. And that's what he wanted with Yahushua. But they don't know the law, so they can't see that. You know what I'm saying? See, that's what I mean. That's not an instance of just pointing something out. That's to get understanding, so you can understand why you serve Yahushua in the fashion that you serve him. Because when you saw Joseph, you saw Pharaoh. Because it's saying different. Yahushua said it, Abba said it. That's why Yahushua said, you see me, you see the Father. It's right there in the law. Sometimes what our people look for is it to say, he is this, instead of looking at the fruit of the action and seeing that it's right there in your face. You know what I'm saying? And that also go to show that most people live off what people say versus what people do. That's why the book say by your conversation or your behavior, your fruits are speaking for you. That's why the master said, if you don't believe me for my word's sake, believe me for the work. The work should tell you. That's my evidence right there. If you don't believe nothing I say, what about the work I've been doing though? That ain't talking loud enough for you? But that's Yasharal for you though. That's Yasharal. It'll come back to me, man. Leviticus 16. The point I had, it was right there in the front of my brain and departed. Because we work into something in Exodus 32. And then we're going to work to something in Malachi chapter 1. And I told y'all this last night and we're going to get to it. Now I want y'all to know this clear before we get to Malachi 1. We are not going through this Malachi 1 to disparage anybody who used the name of Jesus. Like we kind of you should be way past that point in 2017. Most of y'all, you know what I'm talking about? But the particular verse that we're going to look at in Malachi is a verse that people use to say that this name pertains to Jesus. Which is, my name will be great amongst the Gentiles. I guess they didn't realize that the name of Yahuwah was made great amongst the Gentiles there and in a couple other places. But he was talking about because of the works of the priests. And that's how we'll narrow that down. Leviticus 16:6 again. And Aaron shall offer his bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and make atonement for himself and for his house. And he shall take 2 goats and present them before Yahuwah at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And we'll drop down all that. And we'll look at verse 14. We're going to work our way around because this is a very long chapter. About 34 verses. And he shall take the blood of the bullock and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat eastward. Before the mercy seat shall sprinkle of the blood with his finger 7 times. Then he shall kill the he goat for the sin offering. Of the sin offering, that is for the people, and bring his blood within the veil, and do that with the blood as he did with the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it upon the mercy seat before the mercy seat. So one bullock, Mashiach being killed, that's your sin offering, right? Listen to the next one. And then he shall make atonement for the Kadesh place because of the uncleanliness of the children of Yasharal, and because of their transgressions and all their sins. So shall he do for the tabernacle of the congregation that remain among them in the midst of their uncleanliness. And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he go to make atonement in the Kadesh place until he come out and he have made atonement for himself and for his household and for all the congregation of Yasharal. So notice it said no man shall come in the tabernacle of the congregation. Notice that no man came to that tomb until Yahushua came up out of it, and then they were able to go in. Because at that point he had made atonement for Yasharal, and the uncleanliness was removed. How do we know that? Because Zechariah 13:1 tells us he made a fountain of uncleanliness for sin, right? They couldn't go in that grave before that Malachim rolled that stone away cooked. Now they could enter into this place. The reason why we say that is because the tabernacle of the congregation, or the house for the body, is formed where? In the grave. Because we all do what? Like Romans tells us, we all are crucified with him. When you got immersed with him and came out the water, you entered into the house of the dead, or the house of of Mashiach, because he died for you. So you saying you laying your life down with him. Basically, when you got immersed, you were saying that you were partaking in that atonement, saying that this man not only died for himself but for his household. Who is his household? All those who are of the faith, all those who believe on him in Ruach and the truth and serve him in righteousness. You are part of his household. Let's look and see why. Pause. Hebrews chapter 3. I gotta crank it up a notch. We started a little late. It's 10:50 though. Yeah, we'll be going a little longer. Definitely going past 11:15, I can tell you that. So I'll tell you to strap your boots on and put some laundry pins on your eyelids. Hebrews 3:1. Wherefore, Kadesh brethren, partakers of the calling of Shamahim, consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, Yahushua HaMashiach, who is faithful to him that appointed him, as also Moses was faithful in all his house. For this man was counted worthy of more esteem than Moses, inasmuch as he who hath builded the house have more honor than the house. For every house is builded by some man, but he that built all things is Elohim. And Moses truly was faithful in all his house as a servant, for a testimony of those things which was spoken after. But Mashiach as a son over his own house, whose house are we, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of hope firm to the end. You ever realize, right? Because of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the temple was symbolic of that. And this man say, destroy this temple and I'll raise it up in 3 days. And you put this temple inside this grave, and you can't go into this set apart place until he come out. He comes out. What do the apostles and the women do? They go in, because he done made the atonement. You have been cleansed. And that's the difference between the immersion of John and the immersion of Yahushua. What was the immersion of John? That was just for remission, for repentance. But the immersion of Yahushua was for the remission of sins, that you could see the gift of the Ruach HaKodesh, therefore being what? A part of the tabernacle of the congregation and receiving the atonement. Because now your heart been cleansed. He said the Ruach is only given to those that obey him. That's what they said in Acts. It's only given to those that obey him. What did we read when we did the immersions of the last week? In Acts 22. He said, wash away thy sins, right? And that's what he said. So when Mashiach dies and resurrects from the dead, it cleanses you and it washes you away from your sins. So what are you hesitating for when he was telling Paul, get in this water and wash away your sins? This is the reason why he said you put him to an open shame if you have to get re-immersed, because your sins have been washed away. And we know what he said in Isaiah. He said he blocked your sins out as a thick cloud, and they don't come unto him. He don't remember them no more. You know what I'm saying? So when you got immersed, whatever sins you committed before your immersion, he don't remember them no more. You supposed to be walking in newness of life. You ain't got no business committing no sin after that. Because everything you did before that is not going to be mentioned, because you've crucified yourself with Mashiach. Now you've decided that I'm going to live a just, clean, and upright life from this moment forward. Does that make sense? Why you say you can't? Why if you do it, you put him to an open shame? Because you done made him sin again, because you made yourself sin again. Now I got to kill him again when this man only died to sin one time. Because all that is forgiven. When you come in that water, all of that is what you did before you got immersed is wiped away. Because what did he tell Paul? Wash away your sins. It's washed away. After that point, you got no business sinning no more. It's supposed to be over. You understand what I'm saying? It's supposed to be over. Because then if you do it afterwards, there's a chance he could bring that to your charge. He could lay that at your feet. And he would be just in doing so. That's just something for us to consider. He could be just in doing so. You have to weigh that. Come on back to Leviticus 16. We missed the scapegoat. Because remember, all the sins of the people was put on Yahusha. He got blamed for everything that you did. That's another reason why we have to consider that when you look at atonement. Every fornication that you committed, every act of idolatry that you committed, every lie that you told, every hateful thought that you had, every Sabbath you broke, every feast you broke, anything you ever stole, he got blamed for it. He took the blame for it. So that you could be reconciled back. He took the blame for it. So what you think that man gonna do when he slide back through? If I had to take the blame for something that I didn't do, the just for the unjust, so that you could be made just. Consider the mercy, consider the sacrifice, and live accordingly. Ain't no way in the world that our faith should be so minute and so small when you consider the work that one man did that he didn't have to do. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that. And that man did that for his whole household. You got niggas ain't gonna ride for their wife and kids. You got niggas got kids don't even take care of them now. You got niggas won't hold their wife down. Oh, somebody's not pleased. Is that Lil? Oh.
I want to sleep in that bed.
Who bed in?
That little crib.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy. Verse 29. He's a real big boy. And this shall be the statute forever unto you, that in the 7th month of the 10th day of the month you shall afflict your souls and do no work at all, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger that sojourn among you. For on that day shall the priest make atonement for you to cleanse you, that you may be clean from all your sins before Yahuwah. This is what this day is really about. Is to cleanse you from all your sins. This is what it's really. It's not about you fasting. The fasting is to show you the humbling of Mashiach. See, let me go ahead to this Job 23 before we swing back to Exodus 32. This what type of heart you need to have. You had to have mind like Job had. This is how Job felt about the word. And then we'll go to Deuteronomy 8. Screw it. 23 and 10, I suppose. He said, but he know the way that I take. And when he have tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot have held his steps. His way have I kept and not declined. Neither have I gone back from the commandment of his lips. I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. So when you turn around and you look at it, right, you fasting on this. This is one of the reasons why, and we may do it tomorrow, we may not. It's one of the reasons why I dropped the word in the daytime on the day too. One, to keep your mind off the fact you ain't eating. But you supposed to be esteeming this man's word more than your necessary food. We don't got to read Deuteronomy 8 because we already mentioned it. He said he suffered thee to hunger, to prove thee and to chasten you, so that you can know that man don't live by bread alone, but by every word that come out the mouth of Yahuwah man live. Because the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are ruach and they are life. And he said, you say you are clean from the word that I have spoken unto you. He said he has washed you in water that you could be without spot, wrinkle, and blemish. So the purpose of this day was to cleanse. You eat the bread and drink the wine to show that you partake in his death, right? You get immersed to say that you partake in his death and that you're going to live in the likeness of his resurrection, which means you're going to live under Elohim from that point forward. And then you commemorate this day because you've been cleansed from your iniquities. So that when tabernacles roll around in his father's house, there's many mansions and he got a place prepared for you. You know what I'm saying? But we don't never consider that. Okay, let's just run the feast down like this here. Let's just do it like this. You got Passover come through. You partake in his death. So then if you partaking in his death, you partaking in his life. How you partaking in his life? Because when Pentecost come through, That's first fruits, and that's the giving of the Ruach. So then when trumpets come through, that trumpet is blown. Now we talking about gathering up the assembly. But then we just read how they said everybody gathered up to the tabernacle door. Because you had to be cleansed on atonement from your transgressions, so you could dwell in the booth and dwell in the kingdom. If you don't follow those steps of those feast days as they laid down, you can't be a partaker in tabernacles. It's not going to be able to happen. Because you ain't partook in his death. You ain't received his Ruach. Therefore, you're not going to hear the trumpet when it was blown. Therefore, you hadn't been cleansed. So how you going to get a booth? How you going to have a mansion? You're not going to have one. Because you didn't follow the steps. Do you know what I'm saying? And this ain't just talking about pulling out no dark saying. It's for you to get understanding. I need to die so I can live, so I can hear, so I can be cleansed, so I can live with God forever. That's the objective. That's the objective. If the objective is you just keeping it just to keep it, then you're not going to live with God forever. You're not going to be with Yahuwah forever. It's not going to happen. It's just simply just not going to happen. So you have to consider what you're doing. That's why he say, sit down and count the cost. Some of y'all I have known for an extended period of time. And some of y'all I've imparted numerous amounts of information over an extended period of time. You know what I'm saying? And one of the key, he just said, screw it, huh? And one of the key points that I've always asked every time I get finished is, do you understand? Because if you don't understand, then I will sit down with you. It doesn't matter what medium it is till you understand. Because it doesn't make it is not beneficial if you don't understand the reading. It's not about pulling out dark sayings. It's not about just showing you the commandments and this, that, and the third. It's to make sure you understand. But if you don't understand and you don't open your mouth, I can't help you. You know what I'm saying? I can't help you. I can't assist you if you be like, oh, I think he ain't gonna show me, or he gonna. The only way I get upset with you about something is when I know that you know better. And then that's not being upset. That's just I expect more out of you. So of course I'm gonna be tad bit. Come on, man. You know better than that. You know what I'm saying? When I know that you know. That's the biggest problem in our society, is that we are so used to people having low expectations of our abilities. You know what I'm saying? You expect somebody to believe you mediocre and you don't know something. So when somebody actually look at you like, come on, man. You like, this it, man. Why he got to do me like that? Because we not used to that. You know what I'm saying? My people used to get on me like that. Don't come in here asking me stuff and you already know. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about on actual stuff, not just, mama, do I need to clean my room type stuff. You know what I'm saying? I know you know this. So therefore I'm going to hold you to that, because I know you are not performing up to your capabilities and abilities that I know that you can perform, because you've shown it. See, we embrace mediocrity. Mediocrity is not to be embraced unless you just want to be a poop putt all your life. Come on back to Exodus chapter 32. You know one of the key components of being great, Stanley? You know what the key components of being great is? You have to have the confidence to believe that you're great even when nobody else does. Even when nobody else can't see it. You have to already have it in your mind you're going to win. And whatever that you have to do to be able to win, that's what you're going to do. And even if you make... Now, we ain't talking about sinning in this aspect. Even if you make a mistake here, detour here, that's not going to deter you from obtaining your objective. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't believe that you're going... If you allow losing... That's why I always told y'all, if somebody come and tell you, oh, you can never stop sinning. The reason why you tell you that is they're trying to plant the thought of losing into your mind because they're a loser. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna go do something, you gotta already believe you're gonna win, and that losing is not even an option. Like you're not even thinking about what if I lose, or you're not even thinking about losing, because the only thing I'm going to do is win. And winning is obtaining your objective, whatever your objective is. You set your objective and what you're striving to attain, and you know that. You don't have to tell nobody else that. You know what I'm saying? And you can't let nobody tell you, oh, you can't do that. You'll never be able to do that. You know your objective is to get in the kingdom. That's your objective. So that's what you're trying to win when you're dealing with the word. That's when you say in the word you're trying to win, because your objective is eternal life, to get in the kingdom. A nigga who's a loser, tell you, you'll never be able to stop sinning, because their objective is not to win, which is, i.e., get into the kingdom. So what are they trying to get in your mind to believe? That you can't win. And everybody runs across people who try to make you believe you can't win. You don't want nobody around you who's telling you can't win. Because truthfully, they don't believe in you. They can't love you. I'm talking about in the pure sense. They can love you, but you know what I'm saying, in the pure sense. But in actuality, at the same token, they're just projecting their insecurities and their lack of confidence in their own abilities upon you. And you can't allow people to do that. Or you're going to be drowning in mediocrity right along with them. You know, more people have failed in life for listening to the people around them tell them what they can't do. Because that nigga too scared to do it. Most of y'all done took a bigger step than most people ever take in their life. You done put your foot towards running after the lamb. Running after y'all. That's what you done did. Most people won't even do that. Some of you done stubbed your toe along the way. You know what I'm talking about? But you kept on going. And you have to keep on going. Because at the end of the day, we already know this man had mercy on who he had mercy on. He had compassion on who he had compassion. If you done did something and you knew it was wrong, and you knew you ought to go to hell for it when you did it, all we can pray is that that man had mercy on you. And that he allowed you to enter you in. You can't really dwell on it. Because you done did it. You knew you were dumb to do it when you did it. You know what I'm talking about? You shouldn't even went and did it in the first place. But now that it's been accomplished, now you have to make sure that you keep yourself steadfast and hope he let you in that gate. But you got to make sure you get your mind right. And you need to make sure that you have your mind focused on pleasing the things that are pleasing to Elohim and not pleasing yourself. Because that's where you got yourself in trouble at. You were trying to please yourself. You were trying to do what was just and right in your eyesight. That's what got you in trouble. You got detoured because you allowed the things that go on around you to dictate your thought. Because see, everybody know when they go to commit a sin, they already know it's wrong when they're going to do it, but they allow that overwhelming desire of the flesh to overpower their conscience or the word that is telling them, don't you take your stupid behind in there and do that. Don't you go around there and do that. You already know you ain't got no business doing that. You allow that flesh to overpower when you don't listen to it. You let it drown it out. Then you done did it and then you sad. But then you do it again because you feel like, screw it, I done did this here, what's the point? And that be the tricks of the adversary to get you to believe, shoot, he can't say you no way. It's better to go down swinging than to just go down on the mat. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going to go down, just go ahead and just fold the tent up and live how you desire. Don't be lukewarm with it. That's why you instances where you see the master said that in Revelation, don't it? You know what you heard at the first. Repent and hold fast, lest I come take your candlestick away. You know what I'm saying? Some of you that fell from your first love, they say repent, hold fast to what you done heard. Now you need to repent and don't fool with that no more. Don't be dumb. You know what I'm saying? Judge righteously. Don't be an idiot. Because guess what he could have did? He could have let you perish right on, go to hell. You know what I'm saying? He could have let you keep on going and not let you retain this man's words and your knowledge and do what you want to do. And be just like you was on Sundays, flogging like you were living right. Exodus 32 though. Verse 6, man. What time is it? 11:06. Oh, we good. We won't go that late. Yahuwah said unto Moses, go get thee down, for thy people which thou brought out of the land of Mizraim have corrupted themselves. And they turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them, and they have made them a molten calf and worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, these be thy gods, O Yasharah, which brought thee out of the land of Mizraim. Now they done pulled a wicked stunt, right? Let's look at verse 15. But when none, yeah, it happens. Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the two tables of the testimony were in his hand, and the tables were written on both their sides, and on the one side, and on the other side. And the tables were the work of Elohim, and the writing was the writing of Elohim graven upon the tables. And when Yahushua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, there is a noise of war in the camp. Let's drop down. I got to get straight to the point. Okay, I keep on going. We good. And he said, it is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear. And it came to pass as soon as he came nigh unto the camp that he saw the calf dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot. And he cast the tables out of his hand and brake them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they made and burned it with fire and ground it to powder and strawed it upon the water and made the children of Yasharah to drink it. Now let's drop down to about verse 25. So now we see what has Moses done with them two tables of stone? What is the people have done? They sinned. They've corrupted themselves. And what was Moses doing before he came down? He was fasting, right? So he was afflicting his soul. He was humbling himself before Yahuwah. And when he was humbling himself before Yahuwah, what was he getting? He was getting the word. So let's come back down to verse 25. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, so they were uncovered, for Aaron had made them naked unto the shame among their enemies. And that's what doesn't happen when any time that we commit sin. We end up making ourselves naked before your enemy or exposed to death. When you commit sin, you expose yourself to death. Because the soul that sinned, it shall die. The wages of sin is death. When Aaron did that, he exposed them to death. Because who was the last enemy to be destroyed? Death. So what was atonement for the purpose of? To atone for sin. Where there is no sin, there is no what? Death. Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on Yahuwah's side? Let him come unto me. Who came unto him? And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. Now let me ask you a question. What was Levi's job to do? What was his purpose? What did Levi do? They guarded the temple. Let me see this here. Deidre, do you remember what does Levi do? Yeah, just in general. It's in general. You got something for me, Deidre? You better put her shoe down. I couldn't hear you. If you said something.
Yeah, I said they're the priests. They keep the house.
Yeah, that's what Darius said. It's something else they do. What else do they do? When in the keeping of the house, what do they do in the house?
They make the sacrifice.
They make the sacrifices. Mm-hmm. That's what we were leading to. They make the sacrifices. So they were on Yah's side, right? Mm-hmm. So let's see what they do after this. Let me ask the question. Was Moses angry?
Yeah.
Was Yah angry?
Yeah.
Did it say that his anger waxed hot, so it might be a little fire on there, right? Well, let's look at this next verse in 27. He said unto them, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal, put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his neighbor, his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men. For Moses had said, consecrate yourselves today to Yahuwah, even every man upon his son and upon his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses said unto the people, you have sinned a great sin, and I will go up unto Yahuwah, peradventure I shall make an atonement for your sin. And Moses returned unto Yahuwah and said, oh, this people have sinned a great sin, and they've made them gods of gold. Yet now if thou wilt forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, whoever sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. Therefore now go lead the people unto the place of which I spoken unto thee. Behold, my Malachim shall go before thee. Nevertheless, in the day when I visit, I will visit their sin upon them. And Yahuwah plagued the people because they made the calf which Aaron made. So when we look at what did the Levites, so if we look at what the Levites did to the people, what could we look at that as, or what's going on?
They executed judgment.
Not only just execute judgment, but what else did they do?
Talking about what the Levites did?
What the Levites did.
He got sin from amongst them.
That too. They took those people, and you know what they made them into? They made them a sin offering. They were made to be a sin offering. Because these people had to be taken out because of the sin. And he made them a sin offering. And the Levites were the one to do it, to go make this offering. Now, case in point, follow where we're going. Moses is suffering in the flesh. He gets the covenant. The covenant is broken. The Levites make an offering. The people are also being plagued. What happens after this? Let's look at Exodus 34 and let's see what happens after this. Exodus chapter 34. Thank you a lot, sir, for taking my chair. It's not like I didn't want it. It's not like I didn't want it, sir. Thank you. Exodus 34:1. Hey Henry. Hey Henry. You're the only one of your stature that's still awake at this hour. Hey Henry. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first tables which thou break. What he said he'll write on the first table? On the second table? Just what was on the first one, right? Pause. Matthew 5:17. Here we say, I'm a grown man. I hang with grown men. Listen what he say. Think not that I... Yeah, if you would have been in the bed, that wouldn't happen. Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I come not to destroy, but to fulfill. For truly I say unto you, till Shamahim and the rats pass, 1 jot or 1 tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Did anything change because they broke it? Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so shall he be called the least in the kingdom of Shamahim. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of Shamahim. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of Shamahim. So when you see here in the law, when he said that I'll write these tables of stone with the same words that were on the first table, this kind of killed what Christians like to say that Jesus nailed it on the cross and there was a change. There was no change. It's the same word. It's the same covenant. Nothing's changed. What did he say in Jeremiah 31 and it quoted in Hebrews 8 about the new covenant? I will make a new covenant with the house of Yasharal and the house of Yehuda, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers, which covenant they break. So when we come back and we look at Exodus, we see that this covenant is not the same covenant to a certain extent that he made with them when they came out of Egypt. What we're looking at is the offering of the people being offered up, and also them being plagued. It's also Mashiach being plagued with death. Is why another covenant had to be made, because an atonement had to be made to cleanse these people. And that's what people sitting back missing. When you look at with the new covenant and what is mentioned in Hebrews 8 starting at verse 7 and in Jeremiah 31 starting at verse 33, what is the key component that it says? He said, I will remember their sins no more. Because did not Moses step to Yah in Exodus 32 and ask him to forgive the people and not to kill them all? He said, I'm going to visit them when it's time for me to visit them, but he forgave that sin at the same token. Verse 2 though. And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present thyself there to me in the top of the mount. And no man shall come up with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mount, neither let the flocks nor the herds feed before that mount. And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went up unto Mount Sinai, as Yahuwah had commanded him, and took in his hand the 2 tables of stone. When Moses got these 2 tables of stones and went to holler back at the people, what happened? His face was shining. And in him was light, and the light was the life of men. So it's giving us like this here, or what was to cleanse us later, right? Hebrew chapter 10. And after that, Malachi chapter 1. Well, we good. We making good time. 10 and what? 12? We want 10 and 12. Yeah, we want 10 and 12. 10 and 10 actually. Henry! That ain't your phone, Henry. You gonna let Henry rob you? You know he's a small gangster. Look at him. By which we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahushua HaMashiach once and for all. And every priest stand daily ministering, offering oftentimes the same sacrifices, which can never take away sins. That's why he mentioned that I will visit them in the time of their sin, because even with the Levites offering up those people as an offering for sin, it couldn't remove the sin which the people committed. That's why the plague hit them. It couldn't take that away. But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down on the right hand of Elohim, from henceforth expecting till his enemies be made his footstool. For For by one offering he hath perfected forever them that are sanctified. Wherefore the Ruach HaKadosh also is a witness to us. For after that he has said before, this is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith Yahuwah. I will put my Torah into their hearts and into their minds, and I will write them. Will I write them, and their sins and iniquities will I remember no more. Now where remission of these is, there is no more offering up for sin. So once he's sitting here telling you, right, he say, and now where remission of these is. So once that word done, you done took part of that new covenant, that word done hit your heart and hit your mind, there is no more offering of sin for you, because that offering has been made once and for all. See, that offering that they made in Exodus 32 wasn't an offering once and for all, because they had to continue to make offerings. We're showing you how the offerings of the Levites could never make the comers thereunto perfect. They hadn't even made no house for sacrifices yet. They hadn't even had the walking tabernacle that they could make. He hadn't even laid nothing down to them for sacrifices yet in Exodus the 32nd chapter. They were just getting the covenant. So we're showing that premise at that point of what we read in Hebrews 10 about the offer, or Hebrews 9, that they couldn't make the comer thereunto perfect. So when you come back and you look at it and Mashiach come through and he tell you that this man's blood should purge your conscience from dead works. This word should be purging your brain from doing works that lead to death. Adultery, fornication, lying, spitefulness, maliciousness, you know what I'm saying, slander, false witness, discord, feet that swift to run into mischief, a mind that devises wicked imaginations, an evil eye, and blasphemies, and heresies, and lasciviousness, and malignity, and whispering, and being pleasant of yourself other than Elohim. These are dead works. But what are works that lead unto life? The joy, the shalom, the gentleness, the meekness, the faith, the love of Elohim. All of these things that produce life, these are good works. Compassion, mercy, judgment, these are good works. This is what's going to cleanse you. But if you don't allow this man's word to cleanse your conscience, then you will continually participate in dead works, because you're not changing your thought process. You're not taking this man's mind on, which means you're an enemy of the state. A brother called me today talking about circumcision. He was like, yeah, man, everybody got to be circumcised in the flesh. And then you have to ask the simple question, what about Adam? What about Abel? What about Methuselah and Enoch and Noah and Shem? They were not circumcised. He was like, I believe they were circumcised. I said, well, you read that in the text. Because the first person you read about being circumcised is who? Abraham. But Abraham was judged to be righteous before he ever circumcised himself. So when you turn around and you look at those men, do we think that the men that we just named, will they be excluded from the kingdom of Elohim because they're not circumcised in the flesh? Absolutely not. They were already circumcised in their hearts before any such covenant was ever given. Because Paul made a statement in Corinthians. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of Elohim. And what is the greatest commandment? Love Yahuwah with all your strength, heart, and soul, which is the exercise in the faith. What is the... Dang it, just dropped out my brain just that quick. Oh yeah, and Jeremiah, what did he tell you? Egypt, Ammon, and Edom are all uncircumcised in the flesh, but Yasharal and Yehuda are uncircumcised in the heart. Are we saying you shouldn't get your son circumcised? By all means, go ahead and do it. But he was really referring to, you got grown people in the word when you're dealing with after Mashiach came. And that's what it was a lot of contention with Paul about, because they say he's teaching against circumcision. He wasn't teaching against circumcision. He was really telling you that your physical circumcision means absolutely nothing because you're wicked on the inside. So though this Gentile who was not physically circumcised, he's circumcised inwardly, he'll enter into this kingdom before you do. Because you glory in your penis, technically in your flesh. Technically you glory in Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and you're not glorying in Elohim. Because you haven't circumcised yourself inwardly. So you feel like, we be Abraham's seed. He's able to raise up children out of stones to Abraham. That was his point. You understand what I'm saying? That was his point. And what do you see today in 2017? What do niggas esteem in? They flesh. Which means that they do not esteem in what we talking about tonight, which is the atonement of Mashiach, which is actually the suffering, the sacrifice, the self-denial, the impaling, the crucifixion. However you want to spin it, when they took the man and nailed him on a tree. Because when they took him and nailed him on a tree, that was an example of self-denial. Dying to self to live to Elohim. That's what the Day of Atonement is about. Because it says you got to make an offering by fire. And those people who were sacrificed in Exodus 32 was an offering by fire because they kindled the fire or the anger of Elohim for him to kill them because of their sin. We know Mashiach was an offering by fire because he went through the furnace of affliction. And we know Peter told us that the trial of your faith is more precious than gold. And gold can only be refined through the fire. So you want to be made perfect and be purified, you got to be taken through some heat. Because you got to burn that stuff up off of you. And a lot of people, they run from not the persecution, they run from the tribulation. They run from the affliction because they don't want them impurities to be removed. That's why if you suffer in the flesh, you'll cease from sin, because the suffering in the flesh will show you what things that are weak in you that you need to cascade if you hold on to the word and stay strong to it. That's why we read that in Hebrews, if you keep your confidence firm unto the end. A lot of people don't keep their confidence, they let it waver. They let it waver through the things that they experience in life. What if David did that? What if Abraham did it? What if when Esau was coming to kill Jacob, what if he wavered? What if Abraham wavered when he told him to leave from his father's house? What if he would have wavered and said, you know what? Man, Sarah ain't finna have no baby. Man, I'm finna go around here and get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more women. And one of them gonna have it. Because that's what these niggas always screaming when they want a multiple wife. They scream nation building. Nowhere in this book do he tell you the nation build. Don't you know if that man could open up one woman womb and give you 15 children, that's exactly what he could do? When he told the disciples and he sent them out, what he told them to do? Convert souls. He didn't tell them to go build no nation. Y'all don't need nobody's help to build no nation. That man took a nation of people that was 70 strong and made them a multitude which no man can number. And you think he needs you niggas help to get to build a nation? And that's when it comes down to, it ain't about y'all, it's about you. You niggas don't believe in y'all, you believe in you. It's really about you. You saying it's about y'all, but it's about you. When did you ever see this man say, go build a nation? He told you, yeah, when you in the captivity, go and get you some wives, man. Have you some kids. Live your life, because you finna be here for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Don't be ducking off thinking you finna be chilling. Nigga, you finna be here for 70 years, baby. Go ahead and get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, get your son a wife, you know what I'm saying? And let him have a family and build it and grow it. Because he might not live long enough to leave here. Well, I was something else in Hebrew chapter 10 that I desired. There it is. We'll keep going to verse 19. Having therefore, brethren, boldness to enter into the Kadesh by the blood of Yahushua, by a new living way, which he have consecrated for us through the veil, that is to say, his flesh, and having a high priest over the house of Elohim, let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. And that's what atonement about is cleansing. Your conscience need to be cleansed and your body need to be washed. But Malachi chapter 1 and verse 7. What time is it? 11:26. I got a little bit. Henry. Hey, Henry. Ain't nobody gonna feed you today, Henry. You gonna be able to hold it down. You know your sister used to do that, Henry. No book for you. 1:7. Like in fact, 1:6. A son honor his father, and a servant his master. And if I then be a father, where is my honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear? Saith Yahuwah of hosts unto you, O priests that despise my name. And you say, wherein have we despised thy name? You offer polluted bread upon my altar, and ye say, wherein have we polluted thee? And that you say the table of Yahuwah is contemptible. What you think he mean when he said the table of Yahuwah is contemptible? And this phone was not charging at a decent level at all.
Give him over there. Give him over there.
What is the table? Where is the table? According to the law, what is the table and what is the table for? In the tabernacle of the congregation, there was a table on it. You know what that table was made from? It's made from shittim wood. You know what was on that table? The shewbread. So that's why he said you offered what upon my altar? Polluted bread. So how did the priests turn around looking with understanding? How did they offer polluted bread and say that that table of Yahuwah was contemptible? Well, let's look and see. Let's look and see. In John chapter 6 and verse 54. Make it 53. Then Yahushua saith unto them, my bad, verse 47. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that believe on me have everlasting life. I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which come down from Shamahim, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which come down from Shamahim. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And that bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. Now they said that this bread was polluted. How was this bread polluted, Stanley? Because this is the sins of the priests. They say they despised his name. Let's see how they despised his name. John 15 and 20. Let's see how they despised his name. So they could offer polluted bread. And the reason why we looking at this here is that the people who claim to be the servants of Yah will be the ones who hate the things of Yah the most. Ain't that what it said in Timothy with? Say they be haters of things. That good. We trying to keep him out. That nigga Doe and Cullen going to sleep. Yo, he old. Y'all nigga too young for me. That nigga looking like somebody granddaddy over there right now. Little Cullen. That little Cullen the 4. That Cullen the 4. He tired. Henry going like a champ. Like a champ, Henry. Me and Henry going all night. Rest of you nigga gonna be asleep. 15.
He told you 14.
Little dozy. 15.
That shoe bread, they weren't trying to partake in that covenant.
At all. They weren't trying to partake. The shoe bread was Kadesh. And who was the only people who could eat the shoe bread? Was the priest. And he was saying they were polluting it. So they were offering bread that they had no business offering. And when you look at something in contempt, you don't desire it. So they looked at the table of Yah as it was something to despise. See, when it comes down to it, a lot of people look at the things, and that's what I mean by when you look at the things that Yah requires, and we look at it with contempt, because we really don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that comes down to talking about the sacrifice of the wicked or an abomination. How much more when they bring it with a wicked mind? And we're going to sit back and look at that Yahushua was a sacrifice for the wicked. The wicked are the ones who brought him as a sacrifice, and they brought him to a sacrifice with a wicked mind. Now when we look at the Hebrew word for contemptible in verse 7, that word is bizarre, and it's to despise, to hold worthless in contempt. And let's see what Mashiach say, because he is the table and the bread that's on the table. 15 and 22. I'll make it 18. If the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you. And if you were of the world would love his own. But because you're not of the world, but I've chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Remember the word that I said unto you, that the servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will also persecute you. And if they've kept my saying, they will keep yours also. But all things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin, but now they have no cloak for their sin. He that hate me hate my Father also. if I had not done among them the works which no other man did, they had not had sin, but now they have both seen and hated both me and my Father. The work, what he talking about, is going to lead to what? What we've been looking at, the cleansing, right? The purging of sin. And they hated him for it. When you offered the bread upon an altar at certain times of the year, was it not an offering for sin in certain spots of the law, if you know the law? And they were offering like we don't want to, we hate it. What were the two men in this book that hated the offerings of Yahuwah and found it to be despicable? Anybody know who those two men were? They died too. Their daddy died too.
I was just about to say Judas.
It was Eli, the priest, and his sons.
They said his daddy died?
Yeah, he died too. Yeah, Eli died too. Remember, he broke his neck. Those two men were priests of Yahuwah and found the sacrifice of Yahuwah to be contemptible. And that's what Paul means when he say people are enemies of the state. They hate the sacrifices of Yahuwah. They hate Yahushua. Truth be told, niggas who don't believe in Mashiach, what's the first thing they scream? Well, we don't need any sacrifice. Ain't that what they scream? Because they hate Yahushua. You don't need a sacrifice in the Torah. I know we don't. So don't need now, nigga. Don't need now. Don't tell me you Torah observant, you ain't got no scapegoat, nigga. You lying bastard, you. Where your scapegoat at, nigga? Where is it at?
Where your altar?
Where your altar at, nigga? The fruit of my lips. Fruit your way to hell, buddy. Fruit your way to hell. That's what they scream. But they not. You can't say you Torah observant and then you keep the parts of the Torah that you feel are convenient for you. Clearly, you're not Torah observant.
Require obedience and sacrifice.
Yeah, guess what? Wrong context. He told a man to go kill some people. He tried to cuff some animals to sacrifice. He said, I ain't tell you to do that. Context, sir. Context. Nigga, throw that out there real quick. Don't tell me you. Then don't turn around and tell me don't eat no crabs then, nigga. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that bold-faced lie, nigga. Then you come around on Passover and get you a lamb and cut his neck. You hypocritical bastard, you. Going over there to the land talking about we got to dwell in booths. Where you dwelling at? Where the house at?
You said 3 times a year, man.
Where the house at? Who you appear before who? So where you appearing before him at? Because ain't nowhere over there for you to appear before him at. You think because you could have stayed home and did that. Nigga, just say you wanted to go on vacation, nigga, stop lying. I'm for real, but guess what? We talking about what does the law say? He say 3 times a year you got to appear before Yahuwah in the place where he choose to place his name at. That means that's a specific location. They came to the temple.
Jerusalem.
Ain't no temple there. And then he said you can't come empty-handed. So who you dropping your offering off to? Rabbi Cohen?
The dude that talking third person. What's his name?
Oh, you talking about Hashua?
Yeah.
The nigga with the natty beard. That nigga look like he got. That nigga look like he got rodents in his face. That nigga, that's crazy. Verse 24 though. Verse 25. But this come to pass that the word might be fulfilled that is written in their Torah. They hated me without a cause. So now you see how they said that the table of Yahuwah is contemptible. They despise it. They despise the Mashiach. And guess what? If you in him and he in you, they going to despise you because you part of that table. Because that goes back to that tabernacle of the congregation, which means he's over his house, which means there's the things in his house. Because there's in every great house vessels of honor and vessels under dishonor. And those who have purged themselves make themselves meet for the master's use, right? So the tables and the vessels and the candlesticks and all that stuff are the vessels in the house. And every nigga who despised Mashiach despised them vessels. Come on back to Malachi. I'm about to wrap it up, man. It's 11:37. It's all good. We started late. Praise God for the word, though. Y'all niggas tired. Young niggas tired. I'm old and all you niggas don't be tired like that. I be up all day.
I be getting drained, dude.
I be up all day, all night. Shoot, nigga. Shoot, boy, I done been in the house and cleaning with no dude, sweating like a buffalo mule.
That sun is different though.
Boy, ain't nothing different. Go in Eureka Gardens then and work in there. And I guarantee you ain't gonna say nothing about that sun. You know what I'm saying? Go in some of them houses where they newly constructed, they ain't got no power in there.
Ain't nothing like them direct rays.
Yeah, boy. That junk more than them direct rays, boy. That junk suffocating. That junk making you hate life.
I ain't never seen an egg fry in a hot house, nigga.
Boy, you might can see that in your rear garden, boy.
On that asphalt, baby.
Cause that junk ain't right. And I see that junk like that in Washington Heights. Them boys ain't got no do. Well, that junk ain't right. Same crackers on your rear gardens on Washington Heights.
Shit, they don't got what?
Ain't got no AC.
They gotta get a box
And they gotta pay for it. They gotta get a wall. Them crackers got events for central air and heat. Talking about they ain't gonna pay for it. Nigga gotta buy their own wall unit. Better believe when I move out that place cracker, that coming with me. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, they ain't paying but 2/4 for rent.
I wouldn't care what they were paying for. But guess what though? They may not be paying 2/4 for rent, but the government pay that they getting that cracker that full check though.
Yeah, that ain't right.
That ain't right, boy. You don't do no humans like that. Well, that ain't right, boy. But it's Florida. It's kids around there, man.
With the stickers.
It's 97 degrees, man. Humidity around here. Everybody nut sticky. Everybody musket. You know what I'm saying? Old people live out here. They might be paying $5 in rent. He collecting a $700, $800, $900 check from the government every month. And they don't like to pay people who do work for them. I ain't want to go back out there after I seen that dude, man. That you tell me, I ain't even asked that nigga if you want me to come back and do another spot. I'm straight. I don't even want y'all money. I don't even care what y'all paying. I don't want to come back out here, man. I don't want to come back out here. I ain't even followed up with cuz. I was good. That junk wasn't right. Well, I had to come up off all my clothes, man. That junk ain't make no sense. Well, you start sweating as soon as you walk in the door. The refrigerator, like they probably took that refrigerator that was in that unit and just toss it down the stairs. That junk was so disgustingly filthy. Then tell me, you want to clean that? You need to give these people a new one. A new one. I don't know what them niggas who were living in there before were doing, but stuff like that ain't supposed to stick to the bottom of the refrigerator. I tell you that. That junk wasn't right. It wasn't right. Verse 8, man. He said, if you offer the blind for a sacrifice, is it not evil? How did they offer the blind for a sacrifice, Dan? How they did that? When they blindfolded him. And if you offer the lame and the sick, is it not evil? Offer it now unto thy governor. Will he be pleased with thee? Or accept thy person, saith you who of hosts? Who was the governor they tried to offer it to? And was y'all pleased with? He didn't even want to do it. He said, now I pray you, beseech Elohim, that he will be favorable unto us. This have been your means. Will he regard your person, saith you who of hosts? Who is there even among you that will shut the doors for naught? Neither do you kindle fire on my altar for naught. I have no pleasure in you, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Neither will I accept an offering at your hand. This is the verse. Verse 11 is the verse that people use to say this is Jesus. The name Jesus is supposed to be used. From the rising of the sun, even unto the going down of the same, my name shall be great among the Gentiles. And in every place, listen, and in every place incense shall be offered unto my name, and a pure offering. For my name shall be great among the heathen, saith Yahuwah of hosts. But you have profaned it, in that you say the table of Yahuwah is polluted, and the fruit thereof, even his meat, is contemptible. Pause. From the rising of the sun to the going down of the same, his name shall be great amongst the Gentiles. Every place incense is offered unto his name, a pure offering. His name will be great among the heathen. What do you think? How can we precept this out to gain some understanding? Because understanding is what we after. We ain't after nothing but some understanding. How will we be able to understand what he's saying? Now, you know, pure offering is tahor, and that's clean. When we look at offering, this is minkah, and it's an offer, a present, a sacrifice, an offering to Elohim or meat. But notice the key point in the verse 12. But they said that even the fruit thereof and the meat is contemptible, and they have profaned it. When you profane it, it is defile it to make it common.
Hey.
To violate a covenant. To dishonor. Hold on. And guess what else it is, Stanley? To bore through. To pierce. To wound. To slay. So when we look at this here, right? We look at the verse in verse 11. It's saying, from the rising of the sun even to the going down of the same, my name shall be great among the Gentiles, and every place incense shall be offered for his name, a pure offering for my name be great among the heathen, but they made it common because they polluted it, even the fruit thereof, and they made it contemptible. So they said they wounded it. The word for table is different in this verse, and this is the king's table for a private use, so it be spread out. So they say that it's been polluted, and that the fruit is contemptible or to be despised. What is the fruit? What is that meat? You know what word they got for meat in this verse, Stanley? What words you think they got for meat in this verse, Stanley? It is okel. And it's a meal or a dinner, but also a prey. Also victuals. So as we get ready to round this down and leave this alone, now we need to reconcile the first part, the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. Let's look at the rising of the sun part. Matthew 27:1. We finna move it around and piece it together. And we're going to piece every part of it together. And after we look at Matthew chapter 1, we'll look at John chapter 19. Because we got to look at, on atonement, the people have been making themselves common and profane, and that's why he had to come make the sacrifice, right? To make his name great again. So we have to see this same construct on the Day of Atonement with a sin offering and a burnt offering. Like we read in Leviticus 16, correct? All right, rock with me then. 27:1. If I actually can get to 27:1, we might do something. When the morning was come, all the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Yahushua to put him to death. And when they bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Remember how we read, you take him to your governor? Now, they took him from the rising of the sun. They went in and they put him up there on what? On the stake. So he was up there what? All day, wasn't he? Now, I say to the going down of the sun, right? John chapter 19. Now, I'm going to tell you what made me look at this here. My cousin been posting this verse repeatedly to uphold the name Jesus. That's not why I was looking at it. I just said, man, let me look at this verse, man, because this nigga keep on posting. And that's when the inspiration come to what we looking at. I don't really care about the stuff he talking about with Jesus. IOG, I think, is the first congregation that I ever seen use this to say it's Jesus. Just know that that's not what we looking at it for. We don't care nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? That's them. They can use whatever they want to use it for. We trying to get some understanding because the chapter is talking about Yah's level of festivity with the priests of how they view his sacrifices. We know who offered Yahusha. It was the chief priests and the scribes. They despised the table of Yahuwah. They wounded it. They pierced it. They slain it. They bore holes through him. You know what I'm saying? And they made him common. How did they make him common? Because he died the death of a man. What does Psalm 82:6 say, right? Ye are gods and what? You shall die like men. And if he died like a man, then what did they make him? Common. They made him profane. Because what does Hebrews 2 tell us? He didn't take on him the nature of Malachim, but he took on him what? And he humbled himself and became in the fashion of a what? So he became common and he became profane. Huh? John chapter 19, what? Verse 30. When Yahushua therefore had received the vinegar, he said, it is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up the ruach. The Yahudim therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the stake on the Shabbat day, for that Shabbat day was a high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken and that they might be taken away. So we know that at this point, he's up here on the stake. If they want to take him down, what does the law say about this? When the sun go down, not when the sun separate, but when the sun is down, or unless the whole land be unclean, so they had to take him down. So you see, from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. You saying something? You follow where I'm coming from? So then, when we look at Malachi 1:11 again, with the next point of it, his name shall be great. So how is his name going to be great among the Gentiles? Well, let's look at how he said he would make his name great. John chapter 12, and then back to Matthew 27. See, it's pertaining to Yahusha, but just not in the fashion that certain people look at it. You know what I'm saying? I can see where they come from. Their vantage point is, what name is great amongst the Gentiles that they know? Is Jesus, is Jesus, is Jesus. That's what the Gentiles know. And that's where that come from. We'll look at the Hebrew word for great here, though. And the word is gadol. And it's simply to be great or large in magnitude and extent. Great things. But also Elohim himself. It literally says that. Elohim himself. Or something important. Or greatness. Or an elder. Or a great man. Or a mighty man. Or an older man. Or a noble or proud thing. John 12 and 25, I suppose. That's what I desire. He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hate his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me, and where I am, there shall also my servant be. And if any man serve me, him will my Father honor. Now is my soul troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this cause came out unto this hour. Father, esteem thy name. Then there came a voice from Shamahim, saying, I have both esteemed it, and will esteem it again. Do we not sit back and look at that with Mashiach being on that stake from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same? It made his name great. And then that's Elohim. It also says it means Elohim himself.
He make his name great amongst the Gentiles. I'm looking at the Gentiles as the crowd, the people that didn't even believe.
Yeah, you finna see Matthew 28. You ain't 27. You ain't said nothing wrong.
Even though they was out, Yasharab, I'm thinking about Gentiles in the faith.
Yeah, he talking about, shoot, when he looking at Gentile here, that's Goy. Them some strangers. Them some strangers. Verse 50. 27 and 50. Because notice what it said, right? In every place incense shall be offered unto my name, and a pure offering. So we have to sit back and look at it, right? Mashiach was a clean offering. And he with incense. We gonna see. Now Yahusha, when he cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the Ruach, and behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks went, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the Kadeshim which slept arose, and there came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the Kadesh city, and appeared unto many. Now when the centurion and they that were with him, watching, Yahusha saw the earthquake and those things that were done, they feared greatly, and saying, truly, this was the son of Elohim. So you can sit back and look at it. We already determined from John 19 that the sun was going down when this happened. So when they seen that, truly his name was made great amongst it, because not just with the centurion, but it said with everybody there. His name was made great amongst the Gentiles right there, because he was an offering of incense. Let's see how he was an offering of incense in Ephesians chapter 5. And it goes back to what we were talking about being immersed in his death. Because then at that same token, you show forth that pure offering, and you show forth that this man's name is great amongst the Gentiles wherever you go, which is what we talked about last week when he said make sure your behavior is honest amongst the Gentiles. Because was not Yahusha's behavior honest amongst the Gentiles? The way they falsely accused his behavior, that Elohim was esteemed on his behalf. And you have to remember that. You know the most difficult thing to do? What I was telling y'all last week. In a different environment and situation, how niggas kick their game, there was environment and situations would have dictated a different response. You know what I'm saying? The response would have been to get violent. Because you wouldn't have had no other choice. I'm talking about in that environment. Now, if you weren't in that environment and situation and it's just regular people stuff, you just don't fool with it no more. You know what I'm saying? Well, you talking about from some of the environments that you grew up in, or where he grew up in, or the environments that I hustled in and came up in, it dictates a different response. Because if you don't respond that way, everybody feels like they can prey on you. That's all taken back to how Yahusha reacted It's why it says in Isaiah 59 that the righteous maketh himself a prey. Because then we read one of them words mean pray. And they preyed upon him because he could not react in the fashion that these men behavior said that Yahushua should react. Because his behavior should say the natural reaction is Yahushua for to bust these niggas upside their head. Which is why when Pilate came, what did he tell him? And if my kingdom was of this world, my servants will fight. Because all you niggas ought to die. For how you kicking your game. How they kicking their game? The law say all them supposed to die. The priest supposed to die. The scribe supposed to die. The Pharisee supposed to die. You know Judas supposed to die. But what did Judas do? He took it in his own hands. But when you look at the word, when you allow the word to dominate and rule, then you don't react in the way that the flesh say rule. You don't react in the way that the world say move. The fruit of your actions of how you move when people sin against you or trespass against you can show your level of maturity in the word and how much words you got laid up in your heart. Nigga get you mad and you ready to fight and you in the word, clearly you ain't got no word in you. Do you know what I'm saying? How is that possible? Because Mashiach, nigga slapped Mashiach and was wrong. And what did he say? If I said wrong, bro, that cool, but it's not what you put your hands on me for. He didn't get disrespectful of nigga let's bump, but he let him know because you had no business slapping me though. He did let him know that. He did check him at the door. Hold up, cuz. Whoa. If I were wrong, I could take that. If not, well, keep your hand to yourself now. He had no business slapping me. Do you not think if he would have had no clamps on him, you don't think Mashiach probably would have boxed this nigga right there where he stood at? You don't think he would have boxed him? You don't think that man, if you think he took it on himself to tell this nigga, hey bro, what you put your hands on me for? You don't think he would have stood and told him nigga knuckle up? Cause you got to shoot me one? Nigga, you just slapped me for no reason? Cause me and you got to go. You can forgive me after the whooping you finna take, but boy, I'm finna give you one. You know what I'm saying? We don't sit back and look at that. Look how Jacob moved. Look how these men moved when men came against them and they didn't do nothing wrong. What did he do to Esau? He didn't do nothing to Esau. Boy, he seen his brother and wept and gave him a hug. Say, come on, boy, I got something for you. How you deal with... See, it's easy to keep the word when everything is smooth and ain't nobody doing... But how will you react when things are not smooth or people are coming for you in an unjust fashion? They're slandering your name. They're bearing false witness upon you. They're trying to turn people against you. Will you remain long-suffering and meek in that situation? I seen a brother say, what if you had Torah in prison? Oh, you'd have been spread. You know, if you would have got hit with a word in prison, that means absolutely nothing. Because there's no temptation for you in there. Now, you could be in a situation where you got hit with a word like this here. You got the word, and a situation caused you to be in there. You necessarily didn't do anything sinful to get yourself in there. That's different. Like Peter got locked up. Paul and got locked up. They could spread the word. They weren't locked up for sinning. If you were sinning and then you get hit with the word in prison, there's no temptation for you in there. What you tempted to do other than maybe not put hands on nobody, and if people really see you sincere about what you doing and stuff like that, they not gonna mess with you no way. They gonna be like, oh man, you know, leave that brother on the hold. That brother ain't on that. Leave that brother alone. You know what I'm saying? Dudes gonna respect that. Nevertheless, where we at? My page turn.
Ephesians.
Yeah, Ephesians. I appreciate it, sir. Ephesians 5:1. Got to get ready to swipe this on down. It's almost midnight. We've been going for 2.5 strong. Be ye therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love as Mashiach also loved us, and have given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet smelling Savior. We know he was a sacrifice without blemish, no sin. So this is a pure offering, and that was what made his name great among the heathen. And how can we see Yahuwah's name? This is Yahuwah's name being made great. Because what did Hamashiach say in John 5? I come in who? And you what? He say, blessed is he that come in the name of who? That's what he said, right? So when Yahushua, because what did we read in John 12? That's the purpose why we read. He say, Father, esteem thy name, right? So when Yahushua was sacrificed, whose name was esteemed? Yahuwah's. Then byproduct, Yahushua's name was esteemed. And guess what? When the gospel was preached in them synagogues in Acts 13, whose name was being esteemed? Yahuwah's. Though Yahushua was being preached, He said, if you receive me, you receive who? Him that sent me. He said, you don't believe on me, you believe on him that what? Sent me. So therefore the name of Yahuwah is being esteemed by this pure offering. But when you look at that, they hated, they polluted the fruit thereof, and said even his meat is contemptible. What did these men despise? They despised the joy, they despised the love, they despised the shalom, they despised the judgment, they despised the faith, they despised the gentleness and long suffering, all the weightier matters of the Torah. And what is that meat? We talked about that. The fruit of the leaves is the meat. Say, I got to deal with that on tomorrow, more than likely, to carry that part over. But what did he tell you about the tree in Genesis 1? That the fruit of the tree was for what? Meat. You know what I'm saying? See, you got flesh and then you got meat. And sometimes when you see meat, it's talking about plants or fruit from plants and not animal flesh. You understand what I'm saying? Then what do we sit back and see? The fruit of the trees are for what? The healing of the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. These men despise the fruit of the Ruach, and for us to partake in this man's body or partake in that fruit. And they found that to be despicable. All this is taking us back to Mashiach. But y'all we'll deal with that a little later. Hallelujah for Yahushua. We start right here though. Y'all understood all this here? Did any of that make sense? I know we had some other stuff we